And, of course, Dallas still.
No, not him. Nobody likes him.
That's not true.
We actively avoid that guy. By we, I mean all of us.
All of us.
All 7 of us sitting in this chair right now, Alex.
I need so badly to get WD-40 for this stool.
No. No, I think it's good the way it is. It's the WD-40.
I'm testing to see if the mic picks this up. I've been in this blind faith of the
fine.
audience member can't hear me squeak away.
No, they can't.
I'm worried now.
Who's fucking in the next room, dude?
You ready to start this thing?
You're just rocking your chair back and forth just to cover up for the sounds of fucking coming from the next room.
It is not my uncle in the other room. All right. You ready to start this thing?
I'm ready to go, dude. Me and your uncle are ready to kick this fucking podcast off.
So I love that term, think tank. Think tank. You know what a think tank is? Like, how's a think tank go, James?
Yeah, they got cancel culture nowadays. You gotta watch what you say. It's getting real scary out here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know if I can take the conversation here, but we might as well. It's the Rethink Tank. Looks like you had a little bit too much to think here in the Rethink Tank.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. Today's episode, I want to embrace the greatest artist I know, and I'm thankful to know this person personally. But they developed quite an awesome, pivotal foundation to this studio set, the new chapter. I'm trying so hard not to be distracted. This is the coolest painting ever. It's it's made by the lead singer of a band that makes some of the greatest music I love bumping to. If you want to pimp out your golf cart and add a great new playlist to what you're rocking with while the rest of summer still lingers, check out Quick Mystery on Spotify. But let me introduce my guest, Dallas Still. Thank you so much for joining me, my friend.
I'm happy to be here, Alex, and we strictly write golf tunes. That is all that we write.
Well, this is the perfect audience for you.
As long as you're willing to strap like bottle rockets to your golf cart, we are the golf cart.
If you're flying down the links with tube socks on fire, this is the playlist for you. But yeah, check out Quick Mystery.
They're extra flammable. We make them extra flammable. We soak them in kerosene and then sell them. And
Molotov style,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Good stuff.
So, Dallas, I want to get started in the episode. I want to first start the conversation about this amazing painting, right? So, I'm fortunate to have such a unique one-of-one type piece of art, and it be the centerpiece of our studio here. Mm-hmm. And what's most fascinating about the painting was the process to which you got to this. Can you give us a little idea of that timeline, what it looked like, and how you ended up with such a masterpiece?
That would be, I don't know, how long did it take me? Was it a month and a half from start? I think it might have been like a month and a half. I don't even remember.
It felt quick.
I moved between then and now, so my memory has been erased. Yeah, I think like a month and a half, and I hate that painting. I like it better now, but I fucking hated that painting when I was done with it. That thing terrorized me.
In what way?
It was difficult. There was a lot of new things I was working with on it, but yeah. So started from the top. I guess I was drawing. When you approached me with the idea, you're like, I want a monkey in a spacesuit, holding his chin in front of. You said you just wanted him in space. Originally, you just wanted him to be like floating in space. I was like, all right. So I start drawing, and an overachiever would be one way of putting it. A perfectionist is another. But I didn't want to just put a human-sized spacesuit with a monkey head on it.
Right.
So that took me into designing a spacesuit that an ape civilization would have created, which was a lot of drawings. I showed you some of them, but I was doing a lot of drawings trying to like figure out if chimps had built a spacesuit, what would that look like? Because we're talking wider shoulders, we're talking bigger hands, we're talking like no neck, like chimps don't have a neck. So it was the process of like going through that and figuring out like if a chimp were to have created this spacesuit, what would that look like? I start drawing a lot. I start figuring out like chimp anatomy. I brought Buds. You want one?
Oh, Bud Light, my favorite. Yes,
Dude, my
please.
favorite.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So went through that process. I start figuring out like chimp anatomy, start figuring out how a spacesuit would go on top of that. What kind of gearing would they use? Like, how does that all come together? And I started to realize that what I was doing is I would have had to learn a lot of new materials, because that's one of the things. You have to figure out how different materials reflect light, all of that stuff. I have to spend a lot of time drawing like cosmonaut and American spacesuits because I wanted like a hybrid of the two. So I would have had to figure out a lot of time figuring out like, okay, this is how those work. I had to figure out how spacesuits are working. I started looking down as I'm going like, oh my God, I put myself in a hole because I'm going to be doing this for 3 months now instead of like a month and a half, just learning how to draw the damn spacesuit. So
Right.
what can I do? So I'm looking up all of these different reference images, and I came across it was like a really old looking spider monkey, like he's like aged a lot, and he's in a spacesuit, and it looked generated. It didn't look like somebody had created it. It has that, AR it has that like look to it. So, cheers.
Cheers.
When I found that on Google, I was like, all right, I got to look into this, because this is right around the time, also should be said, this is when ChatGPT first took off. I don't remember if it was 3 or 3.5 or 4. I don't remember which one took off first. But I was going, okay, maybe I can get ChatGPT to generate. I knew nothing about any of this. I was like, maybe I can get it to generate an image for me, right? Because I know what I want to see. I have all of these plans laid out. I know what I want to look at. So maybe I can prompt ChatGPT to give me a picture. Learning curve is ChatGPT at that time, at least, was not generating images at all. I don't know if it is now.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was just text prompt, giving you text back. And so then I start looking at these other, because the AI art generators were just popping off too.
So let me get this straight.
Go.
You're trying to create an image that doesn't exist,
Right.
right? And you have no reference images.
I
So
have
as a
plenty of
result-
reference images, but I don't know how to execute those materials.
Sure.
Like, that's the problem. I don't know how to execute to bend physics to fit around an ape.
Gotcha. Perfect. Right. So you need to now create this image out of the ethos.
Right.
And a solve, instead of spending months just trying to develop that alone.
Instead of working, yeah.
Well, no, come on, let's be real. Just for
Shortcuts,
that,
shortcuts.
It is work harder, not smarter. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to
I need
be
to get
effective.
this painting done. Yeah.
and get it done as quick as possible. Maximize your money per time.
Right.
So you looked to AI. What a cool approach.
Right. So that's when I stopped working on the painting and the drawing, and I started just going into AI, and I started looking, like, researching all this stuff around AI, and I found oh God, what is the name? I don't remember the name of the actual program that I use. There's one of those. It's one of those art generation programs, and I don't remember exactly what it was. But I download that. It's is working through Discord at the time.
Okay.
So you put your prompts in Discord and all of that, and then it generates an image for you all through Discord.
Oh, cool.
So I start figuring out how that's working. And all of my prompts are giving me similar things to what I'm looking for, but it's not hitting it for me. I'm getting weirdness instead of getting the specific parameters. I want half cosmonaut, half American. I want it to look like it's an aged chimp civilization and not just a chimp in a American astronaut space. Like, I want all these things, all these dynamics in it. So then that got me thinking, and this actually turns out people were doing this later. And I went in and I was looking into the news around this and how artists were using it. But up until this point, I had never heard, and all the research that I did, I didn't hear of anybody doing this. But I thought to myself, what if, because ChatGPT continues the conversation with you, what if I can get ChatGPT to give me a prompt for the art generator that I'm using? Because just me prompting the art generator was not working. I was getting garbage out the
So
other
we're
end.
going to talk with one AI to figure out what we need to say to another AI
Right,
to
because-
conjure up an image that's never existed before.
Right, because ChatGPT has access to the internet, so it knows what the perfect prompt would be for. I can't remember the name of the program that I use. So I got in this conversation with ChatGPT, and I'm going, this is what I'm looking for. Just continuing to build out the idea that I'm looking for. And so I was getting prompts back. They were working, but it wasn't working crazy well. So as I continued this conversation, it went on for like 2 days that I was leaving the browser open and I'm talking to ChatGPT. And I finally was able to work it down to something that started producing images that started to look like this guy, which was wild. And so then it came down to picking the one, because art generators still can't do hands.
Right.
Maybe they can now. I don't know. But they couldn't do hands at the time.
Well,
and
so yeah,
I was
here,
getting,
here.
like, glitching
Real quick.
and like wrong fingers and all that stuff. So
I'm going to come join you on this side.
come on over.
So that way we can put a side-by-side on this guy. If you look, what I got next to it right now is the image that you got from the AI, and there's an ear in like the headphone. The
Right.
fingers are obviously a little jacked up.
The hand is totally different, yeah.
Don't underestimate your talents where you were still able to take not the exact same image, something close to similar to what you're going for.
Right.
And still make it make sense.
It was the best out of hundreds of images that I generated. It was the best that I could find. And I could even give you other images that I generated and saved. But
Please.
yeah.
I want to
So-
have them on the screen.
And they
Yo,
were
I chugged that
similar.
down. Throw me another buddy.
Oh,
Gracias.
almost exploded all over.
I'm
the thing.
chugging them down, dude.
I know, dude. Slugging them. Cheers.
Cheers.
So
So,
once I got it to give me this, which was the closest, like you said, there was problems. There was an ear coming through the earpiece. There's the chin might be in the wrong place for the way that the neck plate is moving around him. His hand was completely, totally wrong. It was the image that, even the image that I went with was a mess. And I was going through, like I said, like hundreds of images. But this was the best one that I could find. And so then I was like, okay, so what I can do here is I was looking to minimize the amount that I would have to invent while I was painting this thing. And it's different enough. It's definitely reminiscent. You can totally tell where I got the image from. But the argument that I made, because when you're a painter, there's all these things that are not illegal to do, but they're not ethical. And so some of those things might be using a photo from Google, right? If you just find a photo on Google, it's not necessarily ethical for you to use that photo. If you're using just a piece of it, or you're using it as an inspiration and you're doing something completely different, kind of the rule is, if you're going to use somebody else's IP, you look at it and then you put it away and you do your art. That's kind of the rule. Because then you've removed it. If you have it in front of you the whole time, then you are copying it, right? In this case, it took me a week of intense effort to generate an image that I could use as a reference for the painting that I knew that I wanted, but it's still
And who's got the
So-
rights to an image that nobody owns and is conjured
Right.
up by a machine? I mean,
Right.
let's talk about an ethical conversation. Like, here's something that's awesome. We get all the fruits to a competitive market in art and tech and pick any field. That innovation is due to competition, right?
Sure.
So I want to encourage you to want to make better paintings, make better music, make better whatever.
Right.
Because there's an incentive. The only way you can narrow down and in a social realm make a reality a financial incentive, the only way to make that happen is allowing people to financially profit off of that work, right? So now you need to isolate ownership and allow, and that made sense in a world where the medium was limited to CDs. The medium was limited to an 8-track. But at a certain point, the tech and the limitless restrictions to its medium is going to make this unmeasurable, impossible to monetize, impossible. So soon, I think in 100 years or 1,000 years, if we don't blow ourselves up to smithereens, art's going to lead to a place where people are making art for art's sake and never a financial incentive because there's no way to monetize that. My theory being this: AI is creating a world where I can have Kanye West sing an Adele song. Who owns that? I prompted the AI.
Right.
Bob owns the AI. Kanye, it's his voice. And Adele
And his
and
body of work.
her exactly. And
That the AI is referencing.
Adele, not just Adele, but her record label, all
Sure.
owns the rights to the song that Kanye's now that's singing. How about this? This election, I'm calling it now. I can't wait to reference this bad boy years before. But in this upcoming election, you are going to see there will be the most credible piece of evidence in the court of law is videos. That means the thing we lean on the most is video image evidence. Sure. That will become significantly compromised, and we won't be able to determine what's reality in a world where I can make an AI have DeSantis peeing on Russian whores. And now we won't know what's real. And this is my belief. There will be a world where we can have everybody doing everything. Half of us are plugged into a metaverse, and we have lost an ability to distinguish reality from this fictional world and who owns what. There will be so much. We've left the age of information where we're building and creating information. Now we're in a world of curation, where now we're curating it all. So we're going to get to a point where there's so much, it's impossible to curate who owns what. And I'm of the belief where this is a cute belief in our little silly monkey world right now, but this is not going to be the case in 100 years, 200 years. And don't you want that? Make the image, do what you do with the image. But can we also agree, if I'm sitting here talking about, I don't know, pandas in China, like, yeah, dude, what's the giant company, Getty or whatever? Getty Images, I bet owns that picture. At the same time, screw you, Getty. This ain't the same thing. This is my commentary on your, this is the remix. This is I've taken your thing and made it something new. And so let's agree. I can't take Toxic by Quick Mystery, print it on a CD, and sell it. But also, there's got to be a world where if I've got Kanye singing Quick Mystery, Toxic, and come get me.
Be kind of sick.
Boy, would it.
So let me ask you a question then, because this is where it comes. This is what I think is beautiful about this whole revolution. Who owns that?
Exactly.
Who owns this painting?
I paid for it.
You own it. Right, exactly. That's my point.
I'm just kidding.
No. That was my whole point. Is who owns this physical painting right here? You do. You bought it.
But
hired me
that
to paint
also includes the reality that you owned it at one point, and possessory title of it was exchanged. And so you manifested it, you created it. Now that's where
No, because I was commissioned to paint it. There was no point at which I
just
owned
want to
this.
say this.
But
let's say this image.
Did Da Vinci own the Sistine Chapel?
No,
he was commissioned to paint it. And I feel the same way about this. My point is, this was always under your ownership. All right? But that's not that okay, so
okay,
wait a second.
But
Wait
yes,
a second.
I give you that.
Wait a second. Who owns I've been shooting on film. Did I tell you about my 1939 Kodak Retina that I bought? It's fully mechanical. I got it at an estate sale, and this thing, it's no batteries. It's just, I love it. I've been shooting on it. I love this camera.
That's too cool.
People are making fun of me about how much I show it off, but I love this camera. I've been shooting like crazy on it.
I'm a nerd. I'm here to get excited with you.
When I get those photos developed, who owns those photos? I do. If I choose to take a photo of one of those photos, or you choose to take a photo of this and you put it on the internet. But that goes back to the root of my
point. That's in a world where CDs and film and the medium was so limited, it's easy to measure. But this just so happens to be a monkey, right?
Sure.
But what if I said I want Kanye in a spacesuit, holding his chin, thinking by... It's a human... Now, dude, I think about this all the time when it comes to paintings and people got Scrooge McDuck on a dollar bill. You're just lucky Disney hasn't found you. That's what that is. That's what that is.
There's always an...
And it's not a law I agree with. It's definitely a law I cannot wait to... As somebody in a creative space, I'm telling you, my kids are going to crop this clip and they'll be posting it. It's going to be a long time, but I'm telling you I'm right. This shit will dissolve. It won't continue.
But that's my whole point. Once you take a picture of this painting and you put it on the internet, you still own the painting.
Have a field day.
I know, you still own the painting, but anybody can take that...
Dude, the NFT thing.
Picture and do whatever they want with it.
What are you doing, dude? It's a picture. That was everybody's
I don't think they've figured NFTs out.
No, they didn't. There's more to it.
There's something there, but
there's something there.
Yeah.
I can't wait for everybody to... What was unique about an NFT, what made it special was it is a unique, unrepeatable, uncopyable code. You own this ticket.
Right.
And you can do anything with it. You can make it a ticket to a show. You can make it a thing that gifts you a gift. Anybody that has this special key gets a game, gets to play this game, gets to have something mailed to them. Whatever the case may be, it was cool that we developed a system that was unique and unpenetrable digital key. At the same time, a picture, here's my NFT on the screen, a picture of a mongoose wearing Squid Game's clothes and a Ninja Turtle mask does not, I own nothing. Like this, I own the code to that picture, but here's the thing. Somebody takes that picture and they put it on a mug. Do I have the right to sue them? Yes. Will I win? Yes. But at the same time...
You're not gonna.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And go and do something with that.
Screenshot it.
Exactly.
That's
when you go do it. But let's also you get rid of the background. You make it something different. Who am I to say it's an NFT? That's what I'm saying. The picture itself is stupid because do whatever you want with it. As long as you change it, it's different.
So I think the broader picture for me is I think that we're in an age of surplus. We're in an age of, I know there's still poor people all over the place and people that want all over the place, but we're in an age of incredible wealth. Most people aren't hungry.
Dude, you're right.
We're in a cage, and so I
spoiled
think
in that regard.
In that era, everybody has a $150 inkjet printer that can print beautiful photographs. So I think that people are craving rarity in an age of surplus. You're craving something that you can hold on to, that 74 Corvette that I've been driving around. I love that thing because not many people have it. It's rare because I don't see them that often. I do see them, but it's a Stingray. I fucking love that thing. And I love it because of that. That's the other reason I love these paintings that I have all over my own house too, is like when I look at it, it's one of one. Like nobody else owns that. Nobody else owns this specific painting, right? So I think the draw to NFTs was a promise of rarity in an age of surplus. So it was a promise that you are the only one that can own this code. The issue with it is that it's so easily duplicated. So it's like having a shovel full of dirt that this dirt is the only fucking dirt.
It's your dirt.
It's my dirt. This shovelful right here, this bag that I have, this is my dirt. And somebody can go in the same driveway you dug that up from and dig up their own bag of dirt and go, this ain't that much different. You just have the rights. You just have the rights to your dirt. But I own this. It's if you screenshot it. My point here is the reason NFTs aren't good right now is because they're not valued so much anymore. I think because people can just screenshot them. I really think that's the case.
But that's what I'm saying is it was sold in the wrong way. The NFT isn't the image.
How do you sell
It's a code. It's a key.
Yeah.
So again, I hear
NFT
what you're
is the
saying in the point of surplus.
Yeah.
But nothing was done with it. Like Board Yacht 8 Club or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the
Board
hell.
Ape Yacht Club, yeah.
That.
Yeah.
They had the theory. We're going to make, this bar owned by Snoop Dogg, and the only way to get in is if you have this NFT.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you use it. I wanted to make an NFT. Episode 69, we had Mike Ames and Vinny on, and it goes off the deep end, dude. Vinny goes on a date where the girl asks
Did you ever release
him,
episode 69?
No.
You son of a bitch. You said you were going to.
A lot of people keep asking about it.
You
and
said
it's going
you
to be
were
a
going
secret
to.
episode.
You
Oh, my God.
had the band on the
it's going to be
podcast.
released on the website. When episode 100 comes out, I'm releasing that episode. And Vinny goes on. He talks about a date where the girl is being denied by the sexy Vinny. And her Hail Mary is, you like pooping on chess? And he was in such shock. When I say him opening the floodgates to that, there's so much
I can't wait to watch it.
inappropriate talk.
I can't wait to watch it.
I could not put it on YouTube, and I could not make it a part of the series. It has to be a private episode. So that's what happened to episode 69. Anyway,
Make a private,
the
make
goal,
another YouTube channel.
The goal, what we
Episode
made,
69.
here's what I was thinking. I thought everybody, like myself, would get caught in the craze and make a virtual wallet where you'd buy,
Sure.
it was going to be $1.
Sure.
But it at least it wasn't on Google where my boss could find it. It was
Right.
an episode where pay $1. I'm not here to make money.
Right.
It's just so there's
Just put it on the
a
blockchain?
hurdle.
Is that what you're saying? You put
Well,
it
I'm
on
going
the
to
blockchain?
put, that's
Or
what I
you
wanted
just-
to do. What it would be is you use your NFT as a key to access the episode.
Yeah.
And now it's just going to be pay to play on the website. But I'm cool with that. The sad part was the craze never came. That's what stalled out episode 69. That's why it's coming out with the big anniversary of 100 episodes. But I think that's where its value was. It should have been utilized as a key. Board monkey yachts on boats, the canoe club for monkeys.
Yeah, they were
They
trying.
should have made a bar. That was their thing, and it'd be like, you can only get in with this NFT. Now people want this. There was going to be a music festival. That'd be cool. I need to go buy this key, digital key, that nobody... Now, you can't really have scalpers screw you. You can't have somebody, hack the system. It's, here's an NFT. There's only one of them. It is this thing. And if you don't have it, you can't get in. I thought that was cool. But they dropped the ball, and I don't think they've
Who's
stopped the tool.
Who's they?
Not they. They as just the wave of people. I don't think they're, that's a quick way to brush off the conspiracy theorists. Like, who is they? In this scenario, what I mean is they is us. We the people that were kind of peddling the craze. I wasn't a part of it. I got caught up in it. I had friends that were like, NFTs all the way. Mm-hmm. Those people, they all dropped the ball.
The internet
because,
bubble.
exactly.
Yeah.
The Hive. The Hive dropped the ball
Yeah.
because the potential for this tool was there. We misused it with silly little pictures, but I don't think we're distracted now. World powers are highly invested in cryptocurrencies, and the distraction has kind of pushed back towards that. But the reality is, I don't think the tool is gone. NFTs are going to be a major piece of the future moving forward. It is a unique
all the infrastructure
key.
is still there.
Exactly. Meta can make worlds where you need this particular NFT to access whatever VR world. It is what it is. But, let's bring it back to, I think it's very cool, the concept that you were able to communicate with an AI to find out what prompt you needed for an image creating AI. And one of the things you learned was a human being will just naturally throw in, I want a monkey in a suit doing X, Y, and that only came up with jacked up images. It was wonky. What you needed to do was talk to an AI like a computer. And so speaking with ChatGPT, you were able to develop what you needed to
be clear,
brightness,
though,
contrast.
Yeah, it had all of
image talk.
It had the exposures of the camera. It had the type of camera that took the photo. All of that stuff, right?
Wow.
But to be clear, those were the things about the prompting that I didn't know. So there are people out there that are experts at prompting these AI, and that is the data set that ChatGPT looked at. It looked at the best people at prompting the AI image generator, right? So I just wasn't experienced enough as a prompter to get what I wanted. Had I been experienced enough to get what I want, I probably could have come up with something real similar to this. This is what I wanted, right? As soon as I saw it, I was like, this is what's in my head, right? But I used ChatGPT as a shortcut so that I didn't have to go through and learn all of the prompting, because it's not something that I use every day. If it was something that I used every day, then I would go through and I would learn that in the same way like I would learn Google AdWords or something like that to find keywords to everything. Like I know that program backwards and forwards now, but that's because I know that I may have to continue using Google AdWords for different advertising campaigns or whatever I want to do with it. With this, it was like, how often am I in this scenario that I need to do this much development for a single painting? Like, the amount of development that I would have needed to do as a personal artist to get this done would have been months of training in terms of materials and how a spacesuit is built and how different spacesuits are different than, and so there's all of that. Yeah, and it was wild.
I gotta say, dude, I can't thank you enough, because anything that I would have imagined, sincerely, I mean this, anything I had in my head didn't hold a candle to this thing. I mean, it's even got the re on it. This thing is gorgeous, and I can't thank you enough.
Huge learning curve for me. So it was a
Coolest,
massive learning curve. So I learned a lot for it. So
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you asking me to do it.
And now you're part Neuralink, because this thing was assisted by the future technology.
In a very weird, conflicting, confusing way as an artist, because generally, like I said, you won't go to Google and pull images off. You don't use the internet to find exactly what you're going to paint. But in this case, it was very strange, because I was using every bit of data that I would have used myself to create the image. If I had taken all that time to create the image, that would have been all the data that I would have used, except I just took a shortcut and used ChatGPT, which is a weird, conflicting place to be as an artist and to figure it out, to kind of figure out how to manage that.
I love that. I love that, dude.
Bud?
Yeah, I was just saying. I just choked on this Bud Light.
Uh-oh, she's running. Nice catch.
Bud Light's on the run.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sir.
So, let's
Did you pour one out for the homie?
I'm chugging them down, dog. When it comes to topics, let's run through them. Ready?
Go, you got some stories.
August, let's go. Drunken California judge gunned down his wife in front of his son, asked cops to shoot him. In the court documents, he went up to the cops and he said, I fucked up.
Like, that's what you do when you get in like a fender bender. You're like, I definitely took a left.
Too much
straight
gay
into
beer.
that dude's door. I fucked up. I'm sorry. Except he shot his fucking wife.
Dude.
What, did they kill him?
No. So he shot his wife at close range. Their son called 911, attempted CPR. She, of course, died from her injuries. Shortly after her son's 911 call, defendant himself called 911 to report vaguely that his wife had been shot. Oh, man. When asked whether he shot his wife, defendant responded, I just love a judge being referred to as defendant. Defendant responded.
Oh, this is a judge?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I totally missed that.
It's a California judge.
Oh, wow, I totally
who
missed that.
gunned down his wife.
I just heard California, man.
Dude, it's
Wow.
all the Bud Light.
Okay.
So, that's why I'm reading this, like, referring to a judge as defendant is
hilarious.
wild. Responded, and he didn't want to talk about it now. I just don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Did you kill your wife? I just don't want to talk about it. My lawyer, a.k.a. my Esquire degree, says I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
Okay, however, according to the filing, when responding to officers who arrived, he had more to say. In slurred words and reeking of alcohol, judge, first he asked them to shoot him. Then he offered several spontaneous statements.
Oh, no.
What the F did I? Well, I guess I'm gone for a while. He allegedly told officers in part for in the exchange. Oh, my God. My son. F me. What an A.
Oh, so he's trying to put it on his son?
What a dick.
Is this dude?
He sold me out. I thought we were homies.
Oh my God, dude.
We're in this together, son.
His son is like doing CPR on his bloody dying mother. And this guy's
Mom's
like,
just-
this guy's like, what the hell, man? I said, hold me back. He's got his fucking shotgun out. What the fuck, dude?
I said, hold me back. Mom is dead because of you. You were supposed to hold me back. I just wanted to look tough, man.
Just trying to look tough.
I didn't want to shoot her.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Okay, your honorable Judge California Democrat, what do you plead? I plead self-defense. I just wanted to look cool. My son didn't hold me back.
Did it for the talk, bro.
All right. We got Captain
fucked up.
Elvis flying planes here. A pilot dies in a bathroom on a flight to Miami carrying 271 passengers.
A pilot. The only pilot?
Actually, it's from Miami to Chile.
Well, that
The
makes sense.
pilot. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now. Like a Miami bender, and he's like, "He's going back."
He's like, I fucked up.
An airline flight pilot died after collapsing in the bathroom. Oh, I was totally picturing on the toilet.
Oh, man.
Captain Ivan Adwar began feeling unwell 3 hours into the airline's flight from Florida to Santiago. After collapsing in the bathroom, he received emergency treatment from the crew. I feel like, okay, in a world of clipgate, in a world...
Hey, go ahead. Try once more.
Too much Bud Light.
Action.
Joking on the Bud Light here. When it comes to the statement, they clearly knew, like, this is clickbait. Like, pilot dies in the bathroom.
Yeah.
No,
They know it's
not
coming.
really. He was struggling for hours, and that's where he collapsed. That's probably where the only private space was. Got all excited. Guy was flying like Elvis.
Did you know, I was just watching on, there's some guy that bought Elvis's private jet. Did you see this?
No,
On
please
YouTube. He's like
tell
trying
me
to
more.
restore it. It's been parked for forever. And he's like trying to restore Elvis's old jet. So that's what I imagine was like
Yes,
some
actually,
guy
I did see
flying
that.
Elvis's jet and just fucking kicks it in the
What
bathroom.
better way?
It'd be awesome. It'd be the way to go.
The greatest homage to my man.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that.
All right, rapid fire. Keeping them going. Like I said, I got a whole slew of them.
Go.
All right.
You got
A
plans.
mystery animal caught on camera in a Texas neighborhood.
This is my brother.
This thing
Naked.
has ears like a mongoose, or I don't even know. I mean, this thing's crazy.
Like a mongoose.
I don't know. I was trying to think
Ears
of...
like a snake. You would not believe the ears on this animal. It had ears like a snake. The fuck are you talking about?
like a fish.
Just two little holes?
What what chinchilla? I'm gonna go with ears,
Ears
like a chinchilla.
What kind of snake is that?
What kind of snake is that? Give me another gay beer. I'm feeling the gay beer now.
Bro, have another bud, bro. Cheers to you, my man.
Cheers.
I'm glad we're doing this. It's been too long.
We tried so hard to make this happen, and we just didn't.
It's been a while.
All right, so looking at this animal.
Okay, so you have
it's
an
like
animal
part
with-
lion. It's got ears of a chinchilla, but giant ears. Weird tail.
Tail like a snake.
No stripes. Tail like a snake.
Weird stripes. Okay, go on.
Ear. I think it's a snake. Ears like a snake.
Somebody
Tails
just took
like
a picture
snake.
of a fucking snake. Like, dude, this snake has ears like a chinchilla. The fuck is going on here?
This snake has ears like a chinchilla.
I would also be weirded out by that. Okay, so you've got a strange animal.
Do you want to hear an awesome fact? Why I loved this I don't know, news article.
Okay, go.
Fact thing that came up. Whatever this weird picture of this weird animal is.
Yeah.
Want to hear an awesome fact about
Go.
Texas? God bless Texas. Did you know there are more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are free in the world?
I did know this.
In private
They're-
collection.
They're fucking crazy over there in Texas.
Dude,
Like,
wild.
and they're always escaping and shit, too.
Yes,
So, like, you'll just
that's
have,
what
like,
I'm saying. You're telling me some private collection lion didn't have sex with a snake mongoose over here? And
This is what I'm saying. Dude, yeah, exactly.
Like, it shouldn't surprise you that some asexual hybrid lion mongoose was made, chinchilla, not mongoose, was made in the fields of Texas.
In the fields of, if anywhere, it would be Texas.
Right? Come on.
Right.
New species like Spy Kids 2 being formed and morphed together would be nowhere but Texas.
This wild boar midwife delivering it. Just choppers circling overhead, dude. It's a goddamn war zone out there. Like, we'll show them. All we need is a cross between a mongoose, a chinchilla, a freed tiger, and what else are we talking here? A fucking.
Here's the thing. I've seen Quick Mystery rocking out quite a bit. Actually, specifically Rob from Quick Mystery
Yeah, he does.
rocking out quite a bit with a tiger on his head.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that Rob has artificially or literally inseminated a mongoose and made this thing?
He disappears. So there's weekends where he's just kind of gone.
He throws that tiger head on and just
He
goes
just
to Texas.
Like, nobody can get a hold of him. I don't know. You tried geolocating
Has he ever woken
him?
up with a bottle in a strange field in Texas?
Not that I know of, but we do have him chipped, so we can kind of see where he goes. I don't think he's been to Texas, but it could have migrated over there. You can't forget
That's
about
what
that.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
He could have gotten an Ohio mongoose that went and traveled and birthed itself in Texas.
Them fucking dirty Ohio snakes, dude. Do you have a picture of this thing?
Oh,
Can I see what
they've
this-
been rolling.
Okay.
Oh, the mongoose. You gotta.
I want to see what this fucking snake looks like.
What do you think?
It looks like a mountain lion and a timber wolf to me.
It does. Those ears are gnarly. Those ears are unique.
That's weird. It's got a
Here's the thing.
big set of balls. You see the balls on that thing?
Whoa!
It's got a big set of balls.
I think that runs in the Rob family.
Those are Rob's balls if I ever seen them, dude. Rob, we have something to talk about.
Were you in Texas? Okay.
His personal addresses.
Dude, just a bunch of cats show up at his house. Or it's just a bunch of
Animal
blue-haired
control.
people with cat headbands on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All the furries
They've
outside
got
his apartment.
cases of Bud Light everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is a wild story, dude. And
got-
this is going to spark some real good debate.
Dude, make
so,
me
before
angry
we
right
get
now.
going,
We've
here,
been so
give me
happy
an,
this whole
I gotta freshen up with a new fresco before we get going.
Yeah, dude, you can't really let these things sit.
No, you
Pretty
gotta,
much after you open them, you gotta get another one.
well, you gotta chug them down is really what it is.
you gotta fucking slam 'em.
Chug these things down. So, all right. This is a wild story, dude. Sweden raises its terror threat level to high for fear of attacks following recent Quran burnings.
For Sweden, that's like a Friday, because what is their terrorist threat? Like their threat level is like somebody took a shit in Wendy's. Do they have
You're
Wendy's?
actually afraid for once.
There is terrorism everywhere, and there's just like somebody taking a shit in the street, and they're like, "Oh my God, the disgrace!
Oh my God, this is not Pompeii."
They disgraced us." Dude.
All right, so Sweden raised its terror alert to the second highest level on Thursday. It's not even the highest. Why is this
in history?
a news
This is not
article?
news.
This ain't news.
This is not news.
After a string of public desecrations of the Quran, which sparked angry demonstrations across Muslim countries and threats from militant groups.
Somebody hooked up with a mongoose.
That always gets him.
It'll get him, dude.
Muhammad was hungry.
The snakes are invading.
The snakes are invading. Did you see the ears on that snake?
Have you seen the ears?
It's like a chinchilla. Okay.
It's cold as shit. They don't even have snakes, I don't think. Do they?
Until the mongooses
Does
came.
Sweden have snakes? This is an important question. Like,
Dude, there's got to be an ice snake of some kind.
no, there is not an ice snake, dude. Snakes fucking hate ice.
There's got to be a summer
We need to get to the bottom
season of
this,
Sweden.
please. Well, I'm sure there is. So, like, they might have, like, garter snakes or something. But do they...
Hello, Wiretap? Can you tell me if there are snakes in Sweden? Wiretap. Are there snakes in Sweden?
You're going to get so many ads for mongoose with weird ears.
Snake food.
Here's
For your pet snake.
Here's your new
In
snake.
Swedish food.
Yes.
You Polak. Snakes in Sweden. 4 prominent species. They got 4 of them. And a 5th with ears.
Garter snake, and garter snake. And then just like a fucking...
And a gardener snake that wears a wooden shoe.
How? Stop. How? No, you can't fucking do this. Go back, rewind that for a second.
Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson noted that Swedish
Solid
interests
name.
abroad... Solid name. Swedish interests abroad had already been targeted, including the storming of Sweden's embassy in Baghdad last month and an attempted attack on the diplomatic mission in Beirut last week.
Okay.
This comes from Kristersson. There are also several examples of terrorist groups that have urged their sympathizers around the world to take revenge for the Quran burnings that have taken place in Sweden. Among them are Hezbollah in
Bless you.
Lebanon, Al-Shabaab in Somalia,
Bless you.
and Al-Qaeda. Kristersson said at a joint news conference, "Here's the deal, man." Also, according to Prime Minister Kristersson, not everything that is legal is appropriate. I think that if you have care about security in the situation of Sweden, especially now, we have intelligence services to prevent attacks against Sweden and Swedish interests abroad. He said some attacks had already been thwarted, but didn't give details. We have gone from being considered a legitimate target to a prioritized target for violent Islamism globally. Why? Because, and this is the coolest part, and this is what's going to spark our dialogue.
Okay.
There is an expat that is finding refuge in Sweden, and he is burning multiple demonstrations of burning the Quran. According to Swedish media reports, the incident was planned by Salwan Mamika, a 37-year-old Iraqi refugee in Sweden who has burned pages of the Quran in front of Stockholm's largest mosque. What are you doing, dude? On June 28th, during Islamic Eid, you did it during a festival too.
Okay.
You're
I mean, he's asking for it.
And again, look at those homos on a June parade, and they're just desecrating the cross. They're just like, what's the difference? Like, I got to put myself in that seat, right? Like, it bothers me, but also they have the freedom of speech. So I want to protect their freedom. I don't particularly enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the fact that we have the freedom to do it. So Sweden wants to preserve that right, but now they've become the epicenter target of Islamic terrorism globally because they are protecting this refugee's right to burn pages of the Quran, which,
welcome to the club, Sweden. Why? I don't understand. They think they're fucking special or something?
Yeah, tell that to the Twin Towers.
Yeah, I mean,
woo!
now watch this draft. Yeah, I mean, listen, all this shit is like, it's complicated. It's super, like, first of all, I'm sure this guy, whoever he is, this expat, this guy that's being sheltered by Sweden. First of all, kudos to Sweden for saying, fuck you, you shouldn't commit acts of terror in another country based on your belief system. Kudos to them for that. This guy is obviously asking for it. I mean, but again, then I have to wonder what his reasons are for doing this. He ran.
So that was part of it. Part of it.
No, he's from Iran.
No.
That's not.
He ran from Iraq.
Oh, okay. He's from Iraq. Yeah.
Right. So he experienced persecution, which, again, like you said, that whether it was torture, whatever the case may be, he was exiled by his community. This is his way of lashing out. At the end of the day, my community is at the epicenter of selling children for sex. I don't support it.
Back up for a second. Your community.
Yeah, we're in America, dude, and our government is up to nefarious things. Like, it's not me and it's not you, but it's our government.
You're going to the wrong church. You might need to reconsider. If your community here, if you're living in the wrong
people do gon' love that stuff. No, so
like, hey, listen, we're being persecuted because we're just trying to sell some fucking kids, and they're not letting us. All right, okay, you broke my neck with that one.
No, but again,
okay.
I live in a country where I love its benefits. I love being a part of it. I'm a patriot. At the same time, I know the dark corners of its mechanism.
Yeah.
And I need to recognize, similar to this person, do you want to live in a world where I speak out against my people? These are my people. I pay its taxes.
Sure.
I live and support its welfare.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I have the right, and it would not be the community I want to be in if we disarm the ability to criticize
Sure,
it.
because that's going to get turned on you. So
let's acknowledge the immense value to this guy's ability to criticize rightfully or wrongfully.
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't forget, there's a guy with a mustache in a van that's like, can you believe these guys won't let me talk to that 15-year-old?
Right.
So, like, he's upset.
Yeah.
He's also outnumbered. And we disagree with him. And if you want to be a part of our group, this is the rule.
Greater society is still like, don't sell kids. You know,
right. So here's
children,
what's interesting.
Which is
awesome. There is a group of people. I've been to Oman. I've been to the UAE. These are countries that run on Sharia law. So their law is based on a religious book.
Yeah.
That book, the Quran, which he's burning pages of. He's burning pages of. It's funny. We live in a world where we have a lady in a hijab, and she goes, just let me wear my hijab, stop discriminating against me. And again, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I know
specifically
who you're talking about.
her, because don't forget, she was exiled by her people because of what she did in her
she's
hijab.
like, just let me take this off.
So,
go ahead.
No, she kept it on. That's
that's
literally the only thing she kept on, and that's why her people literally hate her.
Yeah, fuck you, Sweden. Like, we got way bigger problems over here. We got Mia Khalifa that we're fucking sheltering over here. So
literally.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, so we can live in a world where Mia Khalifa does what she does, but let's acknowledge what the Quran is. The Quran is a book. And I'm all about freedom of religion.
Sure.
But we live in a community where the lady at Starbucks, who is a teacher and a functioning member of society, She practices American Islam. She's never going to admit it to you. She puts it on all of these Americans that are playing the stupid little game. They put up,
Muslim?
I practice Islam. Well, they're Muslim.
Yeah,
they are
okay.
Muslim, and they practice Islam. So I am Islamic, and I do not like it when you discriminate against Islam. At the same time, they definitely live in a country that supports gay people getting married, and they wouldn't be allowed to vote for the blue team if they didn't also support that.
Right.
So the Muslim that's a Democrat is psyched about gays getting married. Again, not Islam.
Sure.
They sometimes wear the hijab, they sometimes don't. And so you've got an American who's, I'm Islam, I'm a victim, but at the same time, they don't even wear the hijab, or they may. So acknowledge, like, I'm Catholic, but I'm my own version of Catholicism. I don't go to church every Sunday. I have to acknowledge I'm not the pure version of this.
Right.
So we need to acknowledge that acknowledgement, what it does is it divides fiction from reality.
Yeah.
These people are victims because they're Muslim, but you're not. You're American Muslim. These people want to kill gays. They also think women shouldn't be allowed to drive. So acknowledge you're cherry picking the religion, and now it's something different. I support the something different. I support whatever you're doing. But if you are supporting it at its purest form, you are supporting killing gays. You are supporting these stories of Muhammad. And there's a lot of great fables in it too, like great stories that push morality and are a good compass for many people. I'm never going to discriminate against that. At the same time, we need to acknowledge what it is.
Have you read the Quran?
Yeah, I did. For these studies to go to these Muslim countries, we're reading it, and you're just like, whoa.
Well,
a lot of these things work, but a lot of these things are pretty outrageous, a little ludicrous. I can't believe you're asking this of people. Kill gays? That's the thing. And when you want to ignore a giant pillar of the thing, it's something different. And so the only reason I bring that up is this is a dialogue that is lost in the news headline. Like, there's a conversation you and I are having, and that's the national interest, the policy consideration of a world leader. I am Sweden. Do I protect this guy who's Iraqi? He's not even Swedish. Do I protect his right to burn this book for the sake of the principle of this policy?
Yeah.
I'm coming from a Catholic perspective where they go, look at priests. The only reason I think it's different is you can't damn Joe Schmo in Kansas that's just a good person going every day for a priest because the priest broke the rules of the book. There's nothing in the book that says do that to children. They broke the rules, where in fact in the Quran has a couple unpleasant rules.
Sure.
And for you ignorant folk out there, I implore you to pick it up and prove me wrong.
But okay, so a couple, you had a lot to say on that, but to pull apart a couple of things there.
Because of that, I'm parched. Do you mind?
Yeah, I got you. To pull apart a couple of things, for me, dude, we're about to kill this case.
Cheers. That's a good case.
Cheers. To pull apart a couple things here, for me, first of all, I am entirely non-interventionist. So
I could agree.
when it comes to
Something I totally relate
when
to.
it comes to those crazy, like, uncontacted African tribes that are slicing apart women's genitals in their communities, do I think it's fucked as an American? Oh my God, yeah.
What do you think of like a second grade school teacher encouraging that on a kid?
Well, hang on. But what I'm saying is, like,
totally
with that
different.
specific, it's a different topic. With
Totally
that
different.
specifically, I don't care
You
because
drinking
that's
too
not
much Bud
those
Light.
are not my people.
Go ahead.
Like, those are not. That's not my culture. That is not. Who am I to say? Italians eating pizza? You savages! You savages! You can't. They're like,
As a
this-
Greek, I would
Listen.
say that.
Is it Greek? Not a real Italian.
No, we are not Italian. We did not
But-
sell out to the Nazis. Go ahead.
You're like holding on to that. You're like, this is the one thing Greek did right, or the Greeks did right, dude. We're awesome.
Dude, my grandma had to hide from Nazis. You Guido wops were them. Go ahead.
There you go, Vinny. Suck it.
69 canceled now.
My 69 canceled. This is episode 69 and a half. As far as I'm concerned, what people do in their own countries, we can have our opinions on it, but I really don't add any value or weight to my life based on what they do. Do I think it's awesome that Sweden is protecting this guy? Yeah, because just based on freedom of speech, I don't think it's right to be threatened by any outside country. As a country, you should be secure
To make your own
enough
decisions.
in yourself to make your own decisions. I mean, Sweden is one of those countries that speaking of Nazis, fought their balls off against the Nazis.
Big cojones.
Oh my God. Some of those guys, I think the sniper with the most kills ever was from Sweden, where he would just hide in an embankment and he was just popping, no scope, just iron sights popping
scope.
Nazis. Oh my God. He was killing regiments. They called him.
He was
they
making
called
the
him White
zombies
Death.
that you fought later.
Incredible. But I mean, for Sweden, it's like, stick to your beliefs. If your belief is that freedom of speech should be allowed, then allow him to do that. I think in this country, let me say something based on Islam, on the culture there. I don't see American Muslims causing chaos in the way that you may see people from other countries that with their interpretation of it causing chaos in the world. Okay, so that's something that I don't see. First of all, I've been friends with a couple of people that converted, and really they didn't change that much. It was almost like as coming from a Christian background, it was almost like talking to a Pentecostal. It was pretty similar. It's just like a lot of the stuff that you believe is what I would believe.
Sure.
But I think what I want to tap into is I want to compare it to the U.S. Constitution. When that was written, there were a lot of things in there that we needed to amend. Careful. There's a lot of things in there that we needed to amend. One of those things was slavery. One of those things was the right to bear arms, right? There was all of these amendments to our Constitution. I feel that the reason the Constitution survived and we didn't scrap it was because people were willing to take a different look at it and to take a different approach. The same has been said with versions of the Bible. I don't know how familiar you are with all of the translations and all of that, but I've read cover to cover a lot of different translations of the Bible. And there's a lot of real messed up stuff in the earlier versions of the Bible. And with the King James Version, it was changed. With this version, it was changed. That version, it was changed. A lot of things to modernize it. And I think the reason that the Christian religion still exists is because of its ability to interpret it in a way that is still accepted by the society that is utilizing it. Okay? Because society changes. What I see in the UAE, for instance, yes, it's Sharia law, but they just outlawed public hangings.
Well, here, let me concede
these are
something.
amendments. These are amendments to the religion that they're like, okay, to concede, to interact with the rest of the world, to interact with society, we need to not be so insane about our...
So, not to tap in here, this is hubris. This is literally in my wheelhouse. My expertise taps in.
Awesome.
The UAE is a special place, dude. And that's why the research... So what the purpose of the research project was to learn from communities that are heavily reliant on oil trade and what their plans are to adapt in an economy that will no longer be pivotally reliant on oil trade. Right. So in these countries, you have this new struggle where all of the dictators, their money and wealth is on the backs of oil trade, and they now have to adapt to a world that is evolving beyond that. Or it may forever be stuck there, but how are they going to remain pivotal members in this economy where it's trying to go green and save the globe.
Right.
So we go there, and what you learn real quickly is the UAE, what is their selling point? They really are not sitting on a pile of oil like Saudi Arabia, like Oman, like
They own a lot of it.
Well, they own land, good land.
They own land outside of
They
the
have
UAE.
oil. Don't get it twisted. They have oil. But at the same time, what they're really selling in trade now more than anything, and what their whole goal, the answer to that inquiry, is our adaptation is we're transitioning, selling tourism. And the way to become the epicenter of tourism moving forward is to westernize.
Right.
So what
Right.
they want to do is to appeal to westernized cultures,
Right.
America.
Make it okay to hug a woman in the airport.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? We weren't allowed to have alcohol.
Yeah.
In Oman.
Still dry, right?
So do you know why? Back to Sharia law, Islam, it's illegal to drink alcohol. So because of Islamic law, you really can't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
So when you went to Oman, no alcohol. Zero alcohol, period. In Abu Dhabi, you could land and get some alcohol in the duty-free shop, but you could only drink it in your hotel. You couldn't be found drunk, and you couldn't be drinking it publicly. Okay. So there was no restaurants. It didn't exist anywhere.
Yeah.
Funny story, I'm probably 21 years old, and we drink, me and a friend, fraternity brother, we're on this trip. There's maybe 12 of us. We have a whole group of people in our hotel room. We're all drinking because we stopped at the duty-free shop. We're in Abu Dhabi. We drink. We all go out, and they went to the mall. Me and my buddy find that TGI Fridays is a loophole with alcohol. We go there, and we get these fruity blue drinks with frickin' pineapple squares. I mean, just fruit in them. I mean, they were Bud Light blue, all crazy. Mm-hmm. So we go there, we pound these things. 21-year-old children hammered. We're in Abu Dhabi. We found the loophole. This is awesome. Turns out we were just children, and we drank a lot in the hotel because we hyped it up big to everybody. We get back to the next day of class. We're doing all these exercises, and we're meeting with CEOs of banks. It was crazy. We're meeting with these people, and we're like, dude, you got to come with us to freaking TGI Fridays. You will be amazed. We found the loophole. It's got alcohol. So we come with, the whole group. I mean, all day. Everybody's hyped. We're all going to TGI Fridays. We're having frou-frou, Bud Light, pineapple, fruity drinks. Dude orders it, and he goes, so what kind of alcohol's in it? Chick looks at her. Waitress looks at him, and he goes, there's no alcohol in this. It is illegal to drink alcohol. And they all look at us like, what were you on? And we're like, dude, it was a night. We would have put our life on it. Those were getting us hammered. So
wow.
I say that because Abu Dhabi had nothing. You then go to Dubai, and Dubai actually had little pockets of bars where they'd look the other way. It wasn't a cluster. It'd just be one bar in this hidden oasis that was for westernized tourists that served alcohol, looked the other way. At the same time, though, the tug of war of it's still an Islamic country. It's still run by a dictator who bases its laws on Sharia law. We had a bunch of kids that found you've been to Las Vegas, have you? Where they got those little they've got these little cards for prostitution, and you'll be walking the strip and people just hand them to you, and it's got girls on them. So these guys, a couple of guys on our trip find collections of these cards. And we had one of those cool professors, right? I'm one of the cool professors. He became too buddy-buddy, too same level as the students, to where the kids took a ton of these cards and slipped them in the crack all around the door of the professor's door in an Islamic country.
Oh, no.
Where some mom calls the hotel, some Islamic mother finds this, calls the hotel.
Pornography.
Dude, it was something real. They almost got their passports taken away.
Yeah.
They had a whole meeting. They almost had to go to the embassy. It turned into some whole crazy thing. So I say all of that to give you a spectrum, saying Dubai is the most westernized.
Sure.
And I imagine it being a decade, it's probably gone even more westernized. Abu Dhabi has probably gotten a little bit further down the line too. But acknowledge what Oman is. You got to understand what Saudi Arabia is.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah.
we're
No, I'm not
talking
cutting
about-
it
we're
short on there at all.
There's
They still
there's
cut
a
people's
whole-
hands off for stealing. Yeah, I mean,
Qatar. You can. There's a whole slew of countries that are run by dictators that base it on Sharia law. That Sharia law is Islamic. It's Islam. It's you're using a religion as a political law, and it's a dangerous place to be. At the same time, though, so listen, we've created now an extremely long dialogue explaining where we're at.
Sure.
Simply for the purpose of there's some wild stuff in those laws.
No
Who
doubt.
doesn't want to live in a community where someone has the ability to speak out against it? At the same time, you raise a great point.
Can you speak out in China?
Well, and they've got Muslim Uyghurs in Uyghur camps. Are you aware of this?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
again,
this is
ironically,
my- this
talk
is my
about putting
point.
the
It's
shoe
like-
on the other foot.
Can you speak out? Like, there's so many examples. You're using one example, which I get. I get it, because it's probably the last, I would say, the Muslim faith, Islamic faith, is probably the last real hyper-conservative bastion of religion. Everything else has been amended and ratified to fit current times. I'd say, like, I can't think of another religion that is that intensely conservative, right? Because that's what we're saying. It's a very...
But could we agree then that that is the symptom of globalization? Like the more that so think of it like this. You've got camps. Take 3 different camps. In camp 1, you've got people that are all the same. And most of them are successful. If they don't pull their end of the weight, they're just killed off. And so there's just this meat of people that all benefit from the fruits of their labor, but they have no freedoms, and they are dictated by a controller. There's a middle group where they have all these weird freedoms. At the same time, they've got this evil dark group that's controlling them, that's doing all this shit across the world. But at the same time, they've got this illusion of freedom. You get to watch them frock and frolic. They get to say wildish stuff. They've got a Barbie movie. At the same time, they embrace a giant nuclear bomb. Like, they've got the freedom to do that. They've got the freedom to make a movie of interviewing a dictator that wants to blow up the world and mock his very existence.
I'm not
Hold
following
on.
you.
So you got, and then the third camp is something somewhere in the middle, where or more severe, something that's even more of a variant. The reason I bring up the multiple factions is in a world where you've got one camp looking at another camp. Because here's what's happened. Before, without radio, without telegram, paper, there was no ability for one camp to communicate to another, to
Right.
even know of the other's existence,
Yeah.
their plights, their struggles, what they're going through.
Yeah.
So it was much easier for Camp 1 to control all of the fruits of that camp,
Okay.
to control all of the successes and disadvantages of its group, because there was no outside communication. They were able to keep it, in its own echo chamber, alongside another group that was living in its own separate way, but also had no way of knowing how maybe they could better themselves too. They don't know of how other ways are done. Yeah, there's books. Yeah, there's history. At the same time, there's no communication with another being living its experience at the same time. I could learn about Julius Caesar and his experience in Rome, but I'm not experiencing an English person and a German person and an Indian person at the same time of my life. And so what has kind of disarmed this, and you made a really beautiful point. You're like, I think it inevitably leads to X. I've made the point forever that I do think we have not a new world order. I do think we have a one world government. We become planetary. We become one giant world. But the only way for that to truly happen is we need to acknowledge how different we are from each other. And for that to be successful, we need to allow ourselves to be locally policed and locally kind of controlled. So the United States is the perfect example because you have 50 countries, dude. If you take Ohio, North, Middle, and South Ohio, they're all so different from each other. But they're all Ohio. And that should go to show you that we could be even more localized. Like, we are all so different, but also we're all human beings.
It's the metric system of ruling.
Exactly. So I think
all
now
breaks down into tenths.
It started with the telegram. It started with the radio. It
Yeah.
started with the newspaper. But now I can literally talk in real time to a person struggling in Hong
There's no
Kong.
filter.
Right? No, it exists. You're there.
There's
You're
no filter
there. I'm
anymore.
talking to you.
So-
you're in Brazil. Go do chat roulette, and you will talk to a person in every random corner of this world.
Yeah.
And we compare notes, and we get to know what's going on in other parts. And now, that's the worst part to the government control was us being able to see behind the veil. It's the Wizard of Oz. The internet, me being able to talk to the Indian guy and the Antarctic guy and the South American guy and the Australian guy, us being able to talk to each other has allowed us to pull behind the curtain and go, it ain't a giant talking head. It's this dude behind a curtain. It's an old guy.
I think the unintended consequence of removing the filter, which nobody really thought about because we were all experiencing it in real time, which has been kind of this has become my position in politics. Religion, politics, really my view on the world in general. One of the consequences of removing the filter that we did not anticipate was that it would destroy our heroes. We don't have any heroes anymore. I think we can kind of pick and choose who we admire still. But I spent a long time wishing that I had looking for a hero, right? Politically looking for a hero. That hero, Rush Limbaugh, when I was 7, told me that couldn't be Obama. All right? And I didn't know any better. And so I'm just, okay, well, that's not him. This is going to be the destruction of the world as we know it because he's president now. And then later on, when Trump came around, it was something different, but it was still, that's when I had started to remove myself from it and try and think and try and go, okay, what are we dealing with? But I think that it murdered the hero as we know it, because to have a hero or a villain, you need this like obfuscation of the person themselves. You need this fog there to be present. You need this filter. And so for a long time, that filter was the newspaper, and then radio came along, but you still had people that were running the radio, and then it became television, but you still had anchors. But with the rise of the internet, that's where we started to realize that the filters, like JFK would have been a hero.
They killed the first president to stand up for all people.
Sure, but I totally agree with that. I totally agree. That's a conspiracy we can talk about. I totally think that he was killed. But
because he stood up for everybody.
Sure. My point here is we didn't realize that we were murdering our heroes. when we started communicating with each other like this, because the removal of the filter makes you realize that for everything you respect a man for, there's shit in his closet, and there's shit in my closet. Just like there's shit, and so you can appreciate that. But there's shit in everybody's fucking closet, dude. I can't tell you how long. Like, I wanted to like Trump. I wanted to like him. I wanted to be where my dad was. I wanted to be where some of my other family members were. I wanted to be there, and that security of that. I have a family. I have a tribe. Right? I wanted to be there, but I kept going, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up, dude. Just shut 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds. Just shut your mouth for 5 seconds, and you can be a hero.
Like,
I know, but
admit you're not racist.
I know.
Like, stop living.
But it was
in
always,
the vague.
it was so many wrong
exactly.
decisions, and I was going, but that's the point. The point is he was doing that because he had fucking Twitter. And so I'm sitting there going, like, I want to idolize somebody. I want to believe in something. I want to, but I can't because it's all too transparent. And if you're going to be mentally stable, then you have to admit the fault of, you have to admit the facts as you see them. You have to be honest with that. Otherwise, you're going to look like a fucking crazy person when you're going, no, he didn't say that. He's on video saying that. Well, he didn't say that. Well, he's on video saying that. Are you insane? He's on video saying that. And so you can apply that to everybody. And as I go through this, I'm going like, the best decision that I've been able to, as I see it, the best decision I can make for myself now is to follow people over a long period and to listen to their words for a long period and to balance, to be really honest with that and go, what have they said in the past and what are they saying now?
Yes,
if that's at
dude.
least consistent, if that's consistent.
Like Hillary Clinton saying, I don't want gays to ever marry until I'm running for president.
Listen, there's all of that. That applies to every politician.
But see, dude, that's why I love podcasting. I can be vulnerable. I'm saying some dumb stuff. And I know me doing a podcast at 35 is not going to be the same person as this person right here,
sure.
Sitting here, right here, drinking all the gay beer you could put in his mouth. All I'm saying is that person will look back and go, straight ignorance. At the same time, this is me. I'm being me. And I can wear my heart on my sleeve, being vulnerable, knowing that you've got... we live in a world of the gotcha moment. I gotcha,
right.
But you'll never get me because I don't need to be right.
Right.
I want to be liberated from my ignorances. If I wear my soul on my sleeve and I'm vulnerable and you attack and manipulate and make me confront the weak portions of myself, I only get stronger.
Right.
You help me, you benefit me.
But that's the whole point.
Podcasting because it's hours.
But that's the whole point. And sorry to interrupt you again, but that's the whole point for me is that if I follow someone for a really long time and that person has been consistently honest with themselves and with whatever they're saying, with their opinions, with their views, even if they change, they're honest about the change. If I'm with that's what I can trust now. And those are the new heroes that I'm kind of looking at where I'm going, I can respect this person because they don't lie about what they've said. They don't lie about their beliefs for any reason. They don't. And so, for instance, and I just want to say this real quick. I don't know if you know Brandon Herrera on YouTube.
Sure.
You know who he is?
Sure, yeah. Tell the audience member just...
He's what they call a gun tuber. There's a couple of them. Demolition Ranch is one. I like watching things go boom, so that's been one of my pastimes. And I love engineering things too, so I love seeing how something is made. And Brandon is different than a lot of the other ones because he makes guns. So instead of just shooting guns, he makes guns, and I think that's very, very interesting. Like, he makes AK-47s American soil and sells them, which is just very fucking interesting to me. Like, how does all that come together? He's making a 50 caliber semi-automatic AK-47. Never been done before. It's crazy. He testified before Congress recently on some weapons ban thing that was going on. He lives in Texas. And he's been doing things like meme he does these meme reaction things. He says a lot of crazy shit. He wears his heart on his sleeve, like you're saying. He just is himself. And you could say it's kind of like podcasting, but it's really just vlogging almost, like just saying what he's doing. But he's been in front of the camera just doing his own thing, right? And now he's running for governor of Texas. He just announced that a week ago.
Wow.
I don't know who else I could possibly get behind at that point. Because at the very least, I know everything this dude has said. Like, he's been in front of the camera for years now. I know what his beliefs are. I know what he thinks is right and wrong. I know where he's going with it. And at least at that point, it's like, at least I believe that this person isn't going to go straight into, at least I know that he isn't in it for himself, right?
Exactly.
He's not just going in. He's not just running for this just for laughs or for clout or for anything like that. He's not changing his opinion for all of this different. He's been the same person the whole time. And I think when people ask themselves the question, why the hell are we getting a game show host as a president? Why are we voting Arnold Schwarzenegger in? It's because people want to believe in something. They want to believe in somebody.
You're so right.
And
But that also goes to show, here's what I always say. People want to have a political opinion, but they never want to do the political homework. So people want to have that leader, and that's the nature of the human beast. At the same time, though, nobody wants to, we're shallow. We are the movie Idiocracy. The masses are stupid. And so they are coming to conclusions and creating idols out of ignorance. And again, it takes work to know who should be your leader. But we just want to have a leader. So at the same time, I know that, what did they call it? The boob tube? Like, the television is dictating who is our leader.
But it's transparent.
No,
yeah.
But no. For the reason of that's how shallow our capacity is.
Okay.
You would truly embrace a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or a Tulsi Gabbard. She is my queen.
Yeah.
If you were educated in political philosophy and political science, and then also had an understanding of just like people, and you just went outside of your television, someone like Tulsi is...
That's the first step. She's the first step, though. She's taking the first step into honesty, which is long-form interview. Okay? So that's the first step, but still that doesn't... You can lie for 3 hours. It's harder, but you can still lie for 3 hours. So this is where things are starting to happen, where it's like, no, I want to be able to look at 15 years of what you've said every week. That's what I'm starting to see here. Is I'm starting to see this shift where it's like, I don't trust anybody that does an interview. I don't trust them just because I liked them in an interview. I don't trust them for that. Can I root for them over other people? Maybe I could if I was involved politically. I'm not. I've never voted, and I'm not going to.
That again goes to my shallowness. Like, don't love Joe Rogan for Joe Rogan's sake. I quote Joe Rogan all the time. Joe Rogan is the inspiration of the show.
Sure.
At the same time, I am a huge critic of that man, and I will be the first to point out where he's defaulted.
He's not
but
God.
Also at the same time, I've been listening to him before law school. I'm talking 10 years. I've been listening to a guy talk.
You were his second subscriber.
And this number 3 actually.
3 actually. Damn. Dude.
And this guy has evolved significantly. Mm-hmm. He's evolved in ways that I don't support, like, or agree with, but I still love him. There's ways that it's like, exactly, I knew you knew what I knew I knew. But at the same time, he's allowed to be a human being. He's changed. He's changed away from what I like. He's changed into even more to what I like. That doesn't make him God. That doesn't make, like you were getting at. And so I love your point. And there's a lot of value in one, acknowledging our human faculties. It's the nature of the beast. At the same time, though, we can't ignore the power of true education and knowledge. Knowledge is all power. And so I love Joe Rogan as an entertainment piece, but he ain't my president, right?
Sure.
So when it comes to leadership, when it comes to who should be your treasurer, who should be the Secretary of Defense or in charge of your education.
A guy who's good at war and a guy who's good at numbers.
Yeah.
What do you want?
But you shouldn't have that, the lens you interpret that through should not be someone else's. And it takes work to know.
Exactly. So if you have a fucking press secretary, I'm not listening to you.
This?
I don't care. If you have somebody telling you...
I'm going to tell you, as somebody who voted for Trump, something I resonate with you is, as somebody that knows and is passionately outspoken against a child trafficking island, I want to believe he's on the side of standing against this.
No heroes.
But everything points to they're all fingers to the same hand.
No heroes.
The goal of the real oppressor has always been to have controlled opposition. And here is a man who, and something I can't get over, and I really hope the listener sits with this. Donald
that one listener
Trump
out there
appointed Alexander Acosta as into his cabinet. Okay, let me educate you.
Yeah.
Alexander Acosta was appointed by Trump into his cabinet. Alexander Acosta was a prosecutor in Florida who, the pivotal case that had Epstein dead to rights, they had Epstein narrowed down. They had a courtroom full of victims. If you go watch the famous Hulu documentary, they have the footage of it. It's crazy, dude. There is an instance where there's a courtroom full of victims, and here comes in the prosecutor, Epstein, and his attorney, and they all walk to the front of the room. Epstein signs a thing, and they all walk out. And the victims are sitting there like, what
Sweetheart
the
deal.
hell? What just happened?
Yeah.
And this will go down as the most outlandish plea deal in American history. And it's because it didn't just give Epstein immunity, but it also gave all co-conspirators immunity.
Right.
This was done by prosecutor Alexander Acosta, who was later appointed into Trump's cabinet.
Right.
So I just want to acknowledge that, exactly.
Yeah.
No, there are heroes, but those heroes are an enemy to the voice, to the speaker, to the thing that controls your earlobe. If you don't take on the exercise to proactively seek out other options than what is given into you by the easy mainstream avenues, then they'll never exist to you. But they exist. If a tree falls and there's no one there to hear it, does it make sound? Open up your ears and look for the falling trees. That's what I have to say to you. They are falling. They are making noise. But you are not hearing them. Not you, the general you. So go out and seek them. Take that. Because they are falling and making noise. They exist.
But I don't think we were meant to all become political analysts.
I was.
Maybe.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not. And
sure,
it impedes my work. It impedes what makes me happy.
But see here, can I tell you something? I said that as a little bit of a funny joke, but the reality is, I didn't wake up going, I love politics.
I know. I know. Nobody
this
does.
Isn't a subject I love, but the reality is, politics is life. This is our life. We're talking about the rules that are going to control the game that your kids play in, that we currently play in. We're playing a game of Monopoly. The guy that created the board game Monopoly created it to mirror capitalism as an exercise to demonstrate that all capitalism results in one person owning everything. Okay, that's awesome, but for now it's good. Everybody's comfortable. Soon, one Bezos or Gates will own it all, but for right now we're comfortable and good. Me and you are playing the game Monopoly. If that's the thing we're doing here, when it comes to I'm not political, dude, I'm all for you making your dollar off of making my golf playlist that much more badass.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. at the same time, let's acknowledge that game we're playing, the rules are not made up by me, and the rules are not made up by you. So we need to concern ourselves with those rules and the assholes making them, or the more of a blind eye we turn, the less likely it is that you can paint a picture of Muhammad.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but in the meantime, I wonder how lonely we have to be. And I think that's my point. Let me tell you a story. I was in college, I believe it was my second semester. I met my buddy Joe, my best friend in college, loved the kid. And we found somebody to sell us ridiculously overpriced weed. And we'd started experimenting with that and just sneaking around and like smoking a tiny little bit of this out of one hitters and shit, right? Just fucking around. I didn't experiment with anything until college. Oh. And then we meet this girl and her friend in an elevator one day. And this is 2014, maybe 2014. So this is really at the very beginning of this whole movement, like woke movement, right? So there wasn't really showing its ugly head. There weren't really protests on campus. It wasn't, and I was on a state campus, so they happened in my later years.
Is this your Me Too admission?
Yeah. Me too. Met this girl, and she's awesome. Her and her friend are awesome. They're super badass. You know, you meet those like badass girls where it's like, you might have more testosterone in your body than I do. You're that cool. Like you're grounded in yourself. You know who you are. I know who I am. We're just all trying to figure out college together. Like, just really, I like that dominant aspect a little bit in a woman where it's like, don't fuck with me. I like that, right? And this girl had that, and so we're just messing around. Like her and I, we never dated or anything like that, but we were friends. Joe and I were friends with her and her friend, and we'd go over to her house. We'd hang out. We'd be watching cartoons and smoking and having a great time. She walked Joe and I through our first LSD experience in the woods, and it was awesome because she knew what she was doing. We had no fucking clue what we were doing, and she made it all okay for both of us. Mostly Joe, but you know, definitely helped me ground myself a little bit there too. I moved back here. Years go by, and I'm watching her stories because I still follow her on Instagram. I'm watching her stories, and there's all this stuff that's popping up. Everything with when the BLM thing was going down, the mask thing was going down, all of the COVID, like
the summer of love.
I realized in one sentence, in a conversation, in one sentence, I could ruin this relationship for the rest of both of our lives in one sentence with this person. And then I started thinking about how many people...
With what would that sentence be? Like, you could do that with anything. I could ruin our relationship right now.
But not,
I could come up with something pretty evil.
Not when I met her. Not when I met her. The world the way it was in 2014, when I met her, we could talk freely.
What do you mean? Like, so what did the sentence become?
A sentence would have been during the Black Lives Matter protest, could have been, but they're burning the city. Like, I totally understand you want to give rides to people who want to go protest. I respect that. I respect what you believe and all of that, but they're burning the city. And just to open that dialogue.
I'm so liberal to other perspectives, I will divorce you right there.
She never would have talked to me again.
Yep.
Because
she's liberal, baby.
Okay. But my point there is, at what point do you take these in, that you do you weigh these things? How do you put these on the scale? This is a relationship with a person that I got along with fantastically in college. And I know that if we were ever in the same room getting a buzz on together again, we'd totally fucking get along.
Dude, how about the people that couldn't admit at a Thanksgiving
hang on, if this thing didn't exist, if this cultural shift did not exist, we would still be hanging out. Like and even so, if I just went down to where she was living right now and I was like, yo, I got a crash, she'd be like, yo, I got a couch. And we'd be friends. We could hang out. And my point to all this is saying, at what point do you look at this and go, I'm stepping away from it for the mere fact that I value people more than I value an ideology?
So can we really talk about the real crux of what you're talking about? So again,
I don't want to let them go. I don't want to let these people fucking go, dude.
But they're letting you go, dude. That's the
But
unfair thing they're doing to you.
She hasn't.
No, time out. Let's be real. Similar to your situation, there's somebody, like I was going to suggest, their family member won't let them show up to Thanksgiving if you admit you voted for the Orange Man, because Orange Man bad.
Yeah.
I say that because when it comes to our situation, I think all types of personal relationships are feeling the strain of this cultural change, as you articulate it. But can we acknowledge, I know you kind of brushed over it, but it is going to be the pivotal piece to my point. I am liberal. I want you to think, defunding the police is going to change anything. I don't. I'm willing to have a real like you said, you're not a political analyst. I'm willing to debate you. You've gotten a political opinion. I've done my political homework.
Sure.
I'm willing to debate you. You know what I've noticed? I went to nationals for debate. I'm willing to have somebody come here and debate me that challenges my perspectives. Liberal people, I'm liberal. Progressives, Democrats, they won't come on this show. They won't challenge their ideas.
Yeah.
They won't debate these topics because they're wrong and because they have to live in an echo chamber that doesn't challenge their ideas, because really it would make them confront the fact that, coming back to the beginning, they're wrong.
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking that they've put you in this position, but let's be real. You view the world different than them. However, you're willing to accept them for their differences and coexist. Right. Our parents lived in a world where couples and parents and wives and husbands had different political opinions.
I know.
Dude. Freaking wild.
And now you can't have a neighbor. You can't have a neighbor.
I'm swiping left on any asshole that doesn't check my box.
I know. And it's fucked up.
Not a healthy place to be.
But
and also not liberal to perspectives that are different than yours.
Right.
You're not liberal.
Right.
So I'm sorry she twisted the perspective to make you feel that way, but the harsh reality is the fact that she is in the wrong. She's making you bear that cross. You are carrying that sin. You are feeling the pain of her decisions. Even though you accept her for who she is making you feel guilty for being any different. And I don't care who you are. You're a vulture. You're a roach. And you're deplorable. I could do without you.
I get that.
And you're of the vein of, I don't want to be without you, no matter how you view this world.
I get that, but
dark.
But like even in the case of my uncles who have different political opinions and my grandmother and all these people, I refuse to talk about any of it.
It's not healthy.
I know you may think that, but I know you may think that, but you say solve the problem.
So wait. If I think that, then why am I wrong?
But the solution to the problem is families at war with each other.
That's not it.
Well, then how you can't change
hold
their
on,
mind?
And okay. So
I want Thanksgiving with my family members.
Yeah, I get you.
I want Christmas with my entire family there again. So how is ignoring politics?
No, wait. But you're damning yourself. You're damning this whole conversation on unhealthy people. Those are unhealthy people. Your inability to disagree and grow with someone is an ignorance and a juvenile deficiency. So let me give you a perspective. My dad has 2 siblings. An uncle and an aunt is who I have. I have an aunt and an uncle and my dad. When my grandma died, as many families do, when there is a death in the family, there is a huge faction. When it comes to fighting over money and when it comes to fighting over whatever, money divides people, and you often see in the death in a family, dissolving an estate divides families. My aunt was selfish, straight up. There's no other way to look at this. She only saw the money and she didn't see the family.
Right.
She is dead to my family, period. So I just have my dad and my uncle. That was a financial strain. That was like like you said, that's something that ruins a relationship. But that was fighting over grandma's estate. That was hundreds of thousands of dollars and tarnishing familiar relationships over that.
Yeah.
That's literal. When it comes to something like a political belief, that's just a conjured up.
It's a concept.
And so I want to acknowledge something. We recently, just this summer, had it was an unhealthy fight. A dinner with the 4 of my intimate family members and my aunt and my uncle, and it was aggressive. I being one of them. I'm embarrassed of my the way I carried myself, along with full disagreement of everyone else involved too. At the same time, what has been same people involved as the other scenario, where one of the members is dead to us. The other here, it was volatile in public. And yet the bedrock of all of our relationship has always been, we can have something like this, a severe disagreement, and it be very poisonous. But the hatchet is buried. We are family, and it's almost totally forgotten. It isn't, but it's almost totally moved on upon.
Yeah.
Simply because we're all coming from a place of purity. We have our heart on our sleeve. I love you. I love you. That's what that is. Whether it's your uncle, whether it's a woman that you tripped acid with. I love you. And if you cannot get beyond a check on a box, on a ticket, or an ideology,
a belief,
you're the problem.
I don't disagree with you on that. So I hope you know that.
And if it ruins Thanksgiving, you ruin Thanksgiving.
I don't disagree with that. But the end point of that is that Thanksgiving is ruined. The end point of that is that a relationship is ruined.
I guess I want to talk this out because maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to correct myself. I'm a principled person.
Yes.
And what I've come to learn around the people that I socialize with is sometimes I put too much weight on principles that don't matter.
Right.
And maybe my autistic brain can use some correction here. But when I look at a scenario like this, my autistic brain goes, more important than anything is the virtue of rightness. Like, rightness is bigger than me. And so when it comes to
facts don't care about your feelings.
Having dinner with Hitler, but Hitler's my uncle. But Hitler's wrong.
Yeah.
That point resonates with you because Hitler's crazy point was killing Jews or Greeks. But at the same time, the point I'm trying to make is you've got an uncle or an aunt with a very toxic, unhealthy, social cancer opinion.
Yeah, their relationship to ideology is personal and not disconnected. And I totally vibe with you on that. But
so at what point do I go, I am trying to put goodness on the back burner so I can comfortably carve a turkey and share potatoes and white meat with Haiti?
My belief on that would be the perspective of a Stoic. Would be the perspective of the complete and total removal of emotion. And so
they aren't.
I know that. But what would a Stoic person do? What would a
Stand
stoic
for rightness. Beyond my relationship
Okay.
of loving my uncle.
And you could say that.
You stand for rightness.
You could say that.
It hurts.
You could say that. But what is rightness? When you say, and I know your perspective.
Man,
you're
that's
saying
a fucking-
you're saying your perspective on it is, I just don't want people selling kids. Now listen, I totally agree with you on that, and I think anybody across the aisle could say don't sell kids.
They don't.
Okay, and I get
They
that
don't.
because
they made a movie about
because
selling kids out
I know.
to be right wing. I guess it's
I know.
a right wing
There's
thing
fucking crazy
to not
people-
want to sell kids, dude.
There's fucking crazy people everywhere. There's a fucking flag for people that want to fuck kids now. So listen, I get it. But
Minor attracted persons.
but-
Respect them.
my family.
Don't you want them at your dinner
But
table?
my family is not that crazy. So there are certain family members that are
but they're
opposite
looking at a
the
good
beliefs
person
of me.
as Satan because
Okay, but
Orange Man bad.
how do you hate an NPC? How much do you try and get an NPC to wake up? How hard do you try? How long before you realize that maybe this person's entire identity is locked to this because their life is a disaster? Like one of my uncles.
So you're
God
going to
love
put
him.
rightness on the back burner because their
Hang on.
life is in shambles.
God love him. His life has been a mess, and he's got a lot of shit in his past, and he's latched himself onto an ideology because it helps him make sense of the world. It helps him make sense of the ways that he wasn't a great father. What is the goal? The goal for me, when I put these two things on the scales, and I go, what I believe to be correct versus what you believe to be correct, in terms of higher societal thinking, even if you are an imbecile in the way that you think about things, and you think that maybe if we just let a couple kids get raped, then even if you think your perspective is that maybe if we just let it happen a couple times, then they'll figure it out. They're people too, even if that's your perspective. If I weigh that in the balance between that and family and destroying the family, which I know you're saying it's not my fault, and I totally understand what you're saying there. It's not my fault. It's their fault. You're saying it's their fault for not respecting the same thing.
Let's fit it into your dialogue. Your uncle, I'm you, and you keep saying you want to, I don't know, eat children, and I'm sitting here going, I
Probably
don't
shouldn't
want to
eat
eat
children.
children.
Yeah.
Or no. You say eat children. I say Orange Man good. You say
no, wait.
Hold on, time out. I want to live in a world like I want the exercise scenario that we're gonna theorize. You're at dinner and you want to just vote for Orange Man and I want to eat children. You're saying I should pretend that my opinion is not my opinion, and I should suppress that so I could comfortably eat at dinner with somebody who outwardly expresses eating children. However, they would be upset with my position. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Let me adjust
their
your parameters.
position-
Let me adjust your parameters. Your parameters are wrong.
Yeah,
I
Brian
believe in somebody. I have the position that I
could vote for
support
somebody.
somebody who says it's wrong to eat children. And you are of the perspective that you would support somebody who believes it's okay for other people to eat children. Okay? Not you and not me.
Right.
We're arguing something that is disconnected from us.
Even better. I like your point.
Because my uncle does not want to eat children. And I am not approaching him in a manner that
To eat
says, because if my uncle was eating children, I'd shoot him in the fucking head and put him in a wood chipper. Do you understand that? My
Yeah,
principles do not go as far. My principles
You're
stop
right.
at the point of you committing the crime.
Fair.
But if you're arguing that an ideology or a candidate or a person should be allowed to do that, so then let's have this discussion. You believe that people should be able to eat children, and I believe that people should not be able to eat children, but either way, neither of us are eating children. Now, is that worth ruining family over?
I agree with you. It's not.
Because principle needs to stop at the point of ideology.
Wait. So let's agree with what's the moral principle you just... It is not worth ruining our relationship.
Right.
But what ruins it?
I get what you're saying. It's not me. It's the other party. So what I'm saying is...
So they're bad. Right? Like if we agreed me shooting you is bad, and you're going like... You sound like a Stockholm Syndrome victim. Like,
I know you're saying
I
that.
just shouldn't have looked at him in such a way that he shot me. Like, I shouldn't have been who I am. Fuck you. Fuck you, man.
I know.
If you don't want me who I am, then I don't want to share a turkey with
But
you.
he didn't shoot me. He supports the person that shot me.
No, he cut the cord. No. The relationship,
Okay.
shooting you is the metaphor. I
Okay,
did shoot
so
you.
he's
You're dead to me.
he's severing
You're
the
gone.
relationship. Okay, I now respect you less for your opinions and your beliefs. Then it comes down to another. So that the first layer is: are you the criminal, or do you support somebody who supports the criminal? That's the first thing for me.
I agree.
If you're
and
the
they're
criminal,
supporting the criminal. They're not.
Then I can
they're
take a
not-
step. If you're the criminal, then I can't take a step back. I have to stand for my morality.
Right. I hear you.
If you're
Choose
not
that.
the criminal and you just have a political belief or a bias or an understanding that I don't, then I have to take a step back. Now let's talk about this. If you are not aware enough in that given situation, in that conversation, if you are not aware enough to separate yourself from your belief system, for whatever reason, could be trauma, could be that you fucked up your whole life, could be whatever, I don't fucking care. Could be that you're just a troll. Like my fucking uncle is a troll, dude. He's a fucking troll. He's a troll before there were trolls. Even if he's just being a troll, then what then is the discussion? Because at that point, he wants to talk about it. He wants to fuck shit up and then
Does
pretend
he?
everything is okay.
Does he? Because at the same time, you said it's going to ruin the relationship.
But he's a troll. He's a troll. So he'll get off on treating me different because of a belief system, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, it doesn't fucking matter why. He's still cutting that cord.
I hear
Now,
you.
is it because the stakes aren't
That
there
sounds
anymore?
like a real... That's the problem.
The stakes aren't there anymore. So you're arguing in every situation like there are stakes, when in a lot of the situation, you're not sitting across from somebody who has eaten children. You are sitting across from somebody who may believe, wrongly or rightly, you don't know how they grew up, you don't know what they went through, you don't know why they believe what they do. Maybe they just fucking heard it from a professor who they thought was hot. I don't know, but the point is, you are interacting with somebody who has an upbringing that's different from you and therefore has beliefs that are different from you, but it is themselves not eating a child.
At the same time, if we could both sit here and have a dinner, or we're having dinner,
Yeah.
and we're talking about eating children, I'm not eating children, you're not eating children, I go, eating children's bad, and you go, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
But how's your summer?
What?
How about how's your summer? How are you? How is your life going?
Hold up.
Who are you?
Hold up.
Like,
Being a human, I totally agree with something I could personally work on, but also something that is good for people generally is, just talk about life. Keep the other shit out of it.
Yeah.
It's been a rule of social law forever for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics. What's the third one? Who knows? Don't talk about the other thing. There's like 3 things you don't ever talk about for a reason, man, because you don't want to kick up dust that's really going to cause an issue.
But
But at the same time, dude, here's the real. This is where the Y in the road, where the rubber hits the road. Real talk. Like, I agree with everything you said.
yeah.
But at the same time, if I'm sitting there and having dinner, and instead of saying, like, you may be trolling me, or you may really want to eat kids, I want to love you, Uncle. I don't want to acknowledge this whole thing. I just want to have our Thanksgiving, have our November day once a year and move on and not hate you and still have you in my life. But if we're sitting there and the Lions are on, you brought up a girl with LSD and BLM. Like, sorry, man, that whole summer, it was kind of...
Those acronyms are wild together, but go ahead.
It's kind of unavoidable. That
Yeah.
whole time period, it was everything.
I know.
So I can sit there and inquire about my baby-eating uncle's,
Yeah.
farm and what he thinks of the corn this year. At the same time, the second the television starts talking about eating kids, and he starts talking about eating kids, and I'm sitting here in a world where if I oppose eating kids, I lose my uncle, but he's sitting here priding himself on eating kids,
Yeah.
and I don't speak up against him, I hope I don't see you in the final garden. You don't deserve it. You stood up for nothing. Stand up for something, or you stand up for nothing. No. He took it from corn to eating kids, and you either stand up for what's right, or you allowed wrongness to exist. Then, therefore, you stood up for wrongness.
But there are your principles.
You are wrong.
So there are your principles, and that's okay. Like, I'm legitimately okay with that. But where I have to sit with it is that I have watched the other part to this story with this girl is that I watched her slowly stop
Stop what?
posting. I watched her slowly stop posting all the she went back to memes.
Yeah, maybe
I
because she
watched her
realized it wasn't getting her the social credit she was
Okay,
buying, because
okay.
it wasn't her soul.
So what if?
So why cater to
so
idiocracy?
What if, this is a wild thought, but what if certain people got hit by a social contagion and they didn't know they did? And then over time, they start to realize, holy
And
shit,
you
I
know,
may need to
you know
adjust.
what brings that realization?
Not people arguing.
No, I'm sorry, man. Not catering to... So again, a child feels that a kitty litter box needs to be inserted into a school bathroom because I'm a cat.
I know.
You know what doesn't solve that problem? Installing a kitty litter box.
I know.
My friend.
I know that.
So guess what? Sorry. You've watched a change in your friend.
wait.
No, you've watched it. You need to recognize the change in your friend is because you stood your ground. I'm sure lots of other people's around her stood their ground, and they were themselves. And she had to confront the fact that, one, this isn't buying me the social credit I thought it was, but also I'm a lot more alone than I thought I was. Or maybe I hold an ignorant position and this is forcing me to confront it, and I'm seeing, shit, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5 anymore.
Maybe. And maybe you're right, and I'm willing to admit that. And maybe my approach to this is not the correct approach. I don't know. But my approach, I know, is different than a lot of my family's approach. And I think the saddest thing for me is realizing that the family doesn't get together anymore.
That's sad.
It's realizing that it's either one side of the political spectrum or the other that's at my grandmother's house.
You know what? You've made the strongest point, and my position has come off very crass. And so the one thing that I don't want my narrative to get twisted in is, and you've acknowledged it, but like a helipad, we're just touching upon it and moving on. I want to truly resonate with the fact that I am making you make the decision. Like Jesus, I love you for any stupid... You want to be a cat? You're a freaking cat, man. But I'm going to also say that an apple isn't blue. Like, this is my reality. The thing I'm wearing, this isn't green, it's red. And these are the facts I operate on. If you're going to hate me for my facts and disown me out of life, that's a you decision. And I know we both kind of agree with that. But at the same time, that point is pivotal because I don't feel loss when you sever the cord. Because I still wanted you in my life when you were different or I disagreed. I also feel like Jordan Peterson, who's the most hated person alive, he gets crucified. And one of the things he says that I couldn't agree with the most is you need to have conservatives and liberals types. You need to have this dichotomy because we balance each other out. So I can't afford a world where I silence those that I disagree with. I rebel in the challenge of their negative polarization to my positive. My positive to their negative. Their whatever, flip it. Don't take the connotation, take it for what it is. Yeah. We balance each other.
Yeah.
So I truly appreciate having the yin in my yang.
Yes.
It doesn't. I don't. They go, there is no God. Your God is not benevolent and all-loving if kids have cancer.
Right.
But there is no such thing as love, beauty, and greatness without terror, horror, and evilness. So it has to have a balance to exist. I love the balance. I know that right now there are things that I carry that are ignorant. The only way for me to truly confront that and eliminate it from my life is to balance it with something that is its other, to challenge it. And I'm sorry, it is a true detriment to allow people to not live that way. And so I will be me. I want you to change me for the better, and where I am good, you can't defeat. But the only way that kind of facilitates itself is on balance with you. And if you're not willing to do this tango, to do the dance, and you need to shut me off, and I'm a problem to you, you are the cancer.
I totally understand that, and I'm with you on that. I think that where you and I are in total agreement right now is that the answer is never to walk out of the room.
Yeah, dude.
The answer is never to just leave.
But then you can't get upset when they do. Don't tuck your tail between your legs.
No, there's no tail.
If you get up from the table
There's no
because I'm
tail.
being me right now, like I know I could be. I love you, dude, and you love me. I get that. We have this type of relationship. But if I'm sitting here and we get into a podcast convo where I'm fucking picking a chord, if you get up and leave right now.
I was actually just, man.
You didn't have Miller. I'm out. No, so the thing is this. If you were to get up and leave, one, that's me now having to acknowledge our relationship wasn't what I thought it was.
Right.
But then also, what I thought it was truly is what it needed to be. It is what it needed to be. I need to be able to challenge you, upset you, and us just go, hey, man, and just fucking walk away, man.
Yep.
And I'm going to be fucking cheering you at your concert and have a fucking life.
So I wanted to bring some of that up, too, because part of my belief system has changed radically. I'm really happy we didn't do this 4 years ago because I would have been very confused sitting right here. I'm glad we didn't do that because my opinion has evolved an incredible amount in the last 4 years. I was just confused 4 years ago. I thought a bird landing on Bernie Sanders' podium was like the greatest fucking thing ever. I was like, oh my God, this is sick. So I've evolved. That was probably 6-7 years ago now, but 8 years ago. I think I totally agree with what you're saying. Dialogue should never be shut down by either side. I totally agree with that. But when it is by the other side, when you know it is too, because then the intelligence factor comes in. When you know a certain line of conversation will cause that dialogue to be severed, then for me, I have to make the decision for myself. I have to make that decision of when is the correct time to have this conversation? Because I've had experiences with individuals in my life who have been in really dark relationships. I've had experiences with people in my life that have been very addicted to substances, very close to me. And I've had to decide when to have that conversation with them. And if I have that conversation with them at the wrong time, I could lose that person. And so then it becomes a situation where it's like, how hard do I pull on the lifeline? If I need to just gradually pull it in because it's frayed and there's a thread sitting there, then listen, the thread is that I haven't been asked. Like by this girl, she hasn't come to me and she said, she never reached out and said, why didn't you post the black square? Yeah. Then it's fucking gloves off, baby. But the point is, she didn't come to me and say, hey, you didn't fucking do it. As soon as that happens, then it's like, I really don't have anything in common with this crazy person anymore because they are actively trying to ruin this relationship rather than just coexist and not talk about it, right? But my point here is so let's go on for a second. Just let me go on a tangent for a second.
Please.
Playing gigs with a band has changed me a lot.
Interesting. Elaborate, please.
I've been in Mahal's, been in Grog Shop, been at all like the bigger venues here in Cleveland, Beachland, Ballroom, all those places. Grog Shop is Blue Hair Central. The people that go there often, you know the type. If I went up there and I said, Orange Man, good. If I had anything like that, my crowd is gone. Actually, they're not, because I have crowd there from the other side. So they're not gone, but now half the crowd is probably gone. Also, I just started fights in my whole fucking crowd.
Yeah.
Now I got fists flying. And why?
But, hold on, I want to acknowledge we're talking about a fan base versus
Family, which
the
is
person
different.
you break bread with.
My perspective on things has changed with the concerts, because I've sat there on stage and looked out in the crowd and I've seen a blue-haired, obviously very left-wing.
Dude, I've been at those
Could
concerts.
be a psychopath. I know you
where
have.
there's the variance of I am somebody wearing an American Horror Story shirt rocking next to
And they
that
don't even see it.
blue-haired person.
They don't even see it. They don't even look at it twice. But this is my fucking thing. It's like, I have my dad's. When I used to work, when I was tunneling for 860 for the union, I was on tunnel jobs with my dad. I'll have guys from those jobs, which are like the most like right wing off the rails,
Those
like
deplorables.
all the way, bro, to like every conspiracy is true, like that kind of like all the way, right? Which is almost just as crazy. But I've had them shoulder to shoulder throwing their hair back and forth right next to somebody else. And I'm going, look at this. Look at this. These two people who would never sit in a room together and have a discussion are right now loving on each other in such a fucking crazy, beautiful way.
That's
And
a great point.
why do I need to fuck that up? Because they believe somebody should eat children and I believe somebody shouldn't eat children. Totally disconnected from both of us. They're not eating kids, and I'm not eating. Like I don't know. Like I it's just, it's not connected to me, and so that's when I started to ramp my meditation up a lot over the last 3 years.
Okay.
I was going like 10, 15 minutes a day before, and now I'm at like, I carve out 40, 45 an hour sometimes, where just sitting, nothing, just me. And I turn everything off, and it really helps me write. It helps me paint. Like before I do anything, I always change my mindset before I go into the next thing. So if I've been writing for the first half of the day, then it's lunch, 25, 30 minutes, whatever it takes me to turn my brain off. And then when I turn it back on, I know what my next task is. And that helps me disconnect and move on to the next thing rather than sit there and war between the two, right?
Sure.
I have fucking horrible ADD. What I kind of came out of that with was it does matter. I know these things matter. I know ideologies matter because they shape the world. But I don't know anybody out there that is bloodletting for health.
What do you mean?
I mean, there probably are a select few, but I don't know anybody that's still using the practice of bloodletting when they have a cold.
Sure.
Which that kind of tells me that, it tells me intellectually that an ideology which is obviously flawed eventually presents itself as flawed.
Oh my God. Totally agree. Just so you know, the whole fabric to the First Amendment, the basis, is the free marketplace of ideas. We allow all ideas to flourish, so they combat themselves in this free market arena, and that would inevitably allow for the best ideas to resonate and surface to the top.
But one side gave you a strike.
Wait, what?
But one side of the aisle gave you a strike on
Right,
YouTube.
or exactly, we're trying to silence part of that arena.
Right, so you're saying the free market is how we come to truth. But one side is trying to shut your YouTube channel down.
Exactly. Or one side is trying to say, you can't break bread at my dinner.
Right. And
So you owe it to the culture war. You do. You owe it to this existence to go, how about this? Somebody within my personal daily life I can't acknowledge in a professional aspect is a staunch Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, one of the people that work with us goes, did you see that doctor that was talking about, that was testifying in front of Congress, that was talking about pregnant men? And the person goes, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's not real. You know, and it's a very powerful person. That's not real. That's not real. I come home and I look at my dad and I go, that's a problem for one of only two reasons. There's two separate problems. It's one of these problems. Either your party has become the party of pregnant men and you don't watch the news, you're not plugged into Twitter, X, so now your party's evolved beyond you and you don't even know it. That's scary. Or you know it and you're trying to ignore the fact that your party has become the party of pregnant men. Either way, that's the facts.
Yeah.
So if we aren't sitting here acknowledging, okay, listen, you think I'm a bad person. Why? Because Orange Man good? I'm a bad person? At the same time, I think gays should get married. I think I love all my black brothers. All these things that you think I'm not, that's who I am. Orange Man good, but hate me. At the same time, when I look at you and go, you're the party of pregnant men. You're the party that says it's hateful to like a movie that's bringing, I don't know, what's the word? Spotlighting the most global economy, which is child trafficking. Like, if that's a problem, me bringing acknowledgement to this is a problem to you, you're a problem.
Right.
I can't ignore the fact that you, dude, I know right now, the basis of this conversation, you've never watched Sounds of Freedom. That's okay. You don't have to. But when you watch that movie, it breaks you. Every person that watches it becomes this spokesperson because you realize there's nothing you can do. And what it truly makes you confront is while you and I are sipping here, drinking our gay beer, like there is a kid experiencing, there are thousands of kids right now
from
experiencing
Cleveland.
Something insane.
Yeah.
If that isn't the most important thing to you right now over anything, like, dude, it may happen that you go to heaven. It may happen that nothing happens. And life after this is just like life before this. Do you remember what life was like before you turned on?
Does.
Nobody does. It could be just like that. So let's acknowledge the most important thing to this right here is making this the best it can be for everyone and the future people.
Yes.
If that's going on to kids, that should shatter you. The reason I say I know you haven't watched it is because you watch this movie, it breaks you and you feel immobilized. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
But all it does is say there is nothing you can do, but you can become a spokesperson for this. You can buy a ticket for somebody else to go watch it. You can now try to provoke other people to go watch it.
Yeah.
And when this is a severe and most abundant reality to our community, and we are talking about a team, an ideology, a cult that wears a jersey that demonizes people that bring attention to this.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't need to have a turkey and mashed potatoes with you.
I know. But, I mean, in the meantime, and you can say that this is just part of the sacrifice.
Dude, again, I want to sit here and go, gay people should get married. I love black people.
I know.
And I want to have my own guns.
I know.
If that person can't go, I want to care about the environment, I want to care about trans rights, and child trafficking is bad, how is there not common ground between us? You are in a cult. You are a broken person. You are infected. How is this any different than COVID? You are sick. You have a mind virus. You think that me being different or having any variant opinion makes you're an antibody, you need to turn me off. So now I need to be quiet? And we're not being quiet about good things. This isn't about, should my Uncrustable be grape flavored or strawberry flavored? This is, they're having sex with kids.
So then let me ask you this question. Do we stop performing? Do we stop having concerts?
No.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Do we stop having comedy shows? Do we stop going to see other movies?
Can you and I, as an artist,
yes,
be very... We need to agree, because I think comedy is a bedrock of social narrative and political narrative. Yes. Music and comedy are two very different platforms, and blurring that line is an unfair...
I'm not trying to blur that. All I'm trying to say is...
Only because I think...
Do we discontinue the things that are outside of the outside of the fight?
You know who I'm jealous of?
In the trenches...
Let me give you this.
In World War II, they still had guys with guitars singing fucking folk songs.
Let me give you this.
So my point to you is, hang on. Yeah. You got to hang on for a second. You got to let me make this point. We cannot destroy what makes us human beings for the sole cause of solving injustice. I know that there's injustice. Injustice is children being exported like a commodity and used in these horrific fucking ways. I totally agree with you on that. But that doesn't mean that nobody should go and see the Barbie movie. Again, like, this doesn't mean that people shouldn't go to concerts. It doesn't mean, because it has to be balanced. If your entire identity becomes about that one thing, I respect you for that. I respect the fuck out of you for that. If you're the guy that has a gun on his hip and he's kicking down doors, killing fucking sex traffickers, I am so happy for you, and I will throw money at you. Every money I can, I will throw it at you, because fuck those people. I totally agree. But my point is that if we can't sacrifice everything that makes us human because of that.
Wow.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that our psychology can take that, because the point that I'm making is I've watched my family just dissipate. I've watched my family just fall apart. Not my personal close family, but my extended family fall apart. We used to get together and celebrate the kids' birthdays together. We used to get together as a family and just give them gifts and be there watching that and have that happen. And my point is that, can we not do both? Can we not be activists on either side and be active in our discussions, and also have the respect when we get together, and be men when we get together, to not discuss? I know, but then it comes down to who is the bigger person there. Who is the person that can go, listen, when you bring it up, you go, ha, look at that on TV. Guess what we should do? I can't believe that Sounds of Freedom is a thing. We should just, like, that right-wing bullshit, it's not even real, it's conspiracy. I had somebody actually tell me that. And so
QAnon, baby.
It's QAnon. It's feeding the QAnon. I had this discussion with somebody, and they were actually person enough to have the discussion with me, which I love.
That's awesome.
But when my uncle brings that up, and I know there's no discussing this because he's a fucking troll, first of all. He's trying to get a rise out of me. Also, and trying to get a rise out of my dad. And I see my dad turn on, and he turns on, and they're about to cause something that is going to make the family not want to fucking get together again. And so my job, as I see it in that scenario, is to take the fucking remote, turn the goddamn TV off, and go, hey, can we talk about this outside? And let the kid have his birthday. Because that fucking kid needs to know that he has family more than he needs to know that his family has political beliefs.
Sure.
So I don't agree with you on that. I don't think that every time it comes up that you have to virtue signal.
Whoa, don't get it twisted. It's not virtue signaling. Like, let's acknowledge what our dialogue is. It's you having a belief, and when it's confronted, putting it on the back burner for the sake of a kid's birthday, let's say.
But this isn't Nazi Germany.
What are you talking about?
We're not discussing the eradication of the Jewish people while we have dinner in Germany. What we're discussing is there is a problem socially. And
wait.
we have different
No.
opinions on it.
Again, think about how hyperbolically and comedically extreme you needed to make your point to make it anywhere resonate.
I get that.
No. Stop. We're talking about somebody voting different than you.
Yeah, I know.
No. You needed to resonate with your point, how ridiculous it is. You needed to compare it to killing Jews.
Sure.
Voting for Orange Man and ruining a kid's birthday and losing a family member is not the same as killing Jews.
All right,
dude.
so maybe that was a bad comparison.
No. But you have to make that comparison to make their infected mind make sense. It is a problem. See what you did there? Like I agree with you. One of the coolest points you made, and I truly it made me confront myself. And you could tell I'm going on an emotional roller coaster because something you make me confront is we are social beings. If you leave a baby to just be, it will die.
Yeah.
It needs to be touched and loved and emotionally supported. Yeah. It is an important and necessary element to the human experience. Humanity is a network of beings. Yeah. And I will totally resonate with the importance of supporting that network and how valuable it is. Like, dude, do you know what I say more than anything? It is better to have more friends than enemies. Something that's a cliche you've heard before, but the reality is exactly what you said. I'm going to bite my tongue. I'm gonna just stay in my lane for the sake of having friends, comrades, companions.
No.
But in a very what I want to get at is at a very intimate level, it's when let's talk about your scenario. So I've got a BLM commercial comes on.
Yeah.
I got uncle who's just trying to just rile shit up. And I've got dad who's biting the bait.
Yep.
Dad's being dad.
What's the
he
right
feels himself and he's exerting his opinion. I agree with you. I get it. Just simmer this shit down.
Yeah.
We got to shut this down. And I also get like it's about to get ridiculous. The best move is curtail the whole situation. Yeah. At the same time, I want to the only thing, and that's why I got kind of the chord that was struck is we're talking two different things. I agree with you, dude. Confrontation, avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Make scenarios as palatable as possible, especially when we're dealing with people that are different than us. At the same time, the scenario I'm talking about is when my soul, not dad, not the environment around me, but when that confronts me. Commercial comes on, and in some way I get roped into this, or I am directly confronted. I owe it to the ethos, to karma, to the fabric of this universe, to acknowledge who I am always, and I cannot pretend to be something different. I am not a chameleon for the sake of this moment, because that is the person. I'm sorry. I know those people. I've been around those people. Those people, I believe, are the reason that infectious these mental viruses, they exist because of them. I believe these things get siphoned out. A woman, the love interest they evolve when they're confronted by the environment that doesn't continue to feed that. And they're like, oh, okay, I have to confront my ideas when it conflicts with the environment around me. So the position I want to say is I agree with you in the scenario with the dad and the uncle. Turn off the TV. Change the momentum of the situation. At the same time, when I'm confronted and ... we're talking about whatever, and it goes, what is your opinion about children on puberty inhibitors? You owe it to the fabric of existence to be what you were tomorrow and yesterday.
Right. Which brings back to the point of that girl not reaching out to me. If that girl had reached out to me on Instagram and said, why didn't you post a black square? If she had reached out and said that, then I would have had to confront that. Right?
Boom, boom. That's that.
Right.
Boom. Praise you.
So
praise you.
We're in agreement.
We are.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to articulate. I praise you and your point for that exact reason. You do not owe it to anybody, and we're social beings. You're the asshole when you go, hey,
Yes.
screw you and your black square.
But
at the same time,
she didn't.
Exactly. We live until you go, what's you with your black square? Then you owe it to karma to have to be you.
Ignite that, yeah.
Not ignite it, just be you.
No, well, who was the catalyst then? And I think if you can identify who the catalyst is in the situation, then you can start to understand what's going on. But I think in the light of my personal family, if we separate the two things, in the light of in the context of my personal family, I understand who my uncle is, and I understand who my father is. And my uncle is the guy who has tried his whole life to be the black sheep. And my father is the man who has stood up for what he believed in since he was 17 years old. He's always stood firm in his shoes. And as his opinions adjust, he stands for those. So I understand those two people in the room. And my point to that, my real overarching point here is that you have to decide when to have that conversation. Because yes, I agree, if you're attacked, then if you are called out from the trenches, if somebody shoots a bullet over your head, then you got to fucking respond. But if that's not happening, then why ignite it is my point. And especially, why ruin a child's birthday party with their family around them? Why have that child? Because the same result is the result. No matter what happens, no matter who's right in the situation, the result is two adults yelling at each other while a kid opens their birthday presents. And what kind of fucking life is that?
And it's just casualties all around.
Casualties. And so so obviously in that situation, given that specific situation, yeah, I think we can agree that you just diffuse and get away from it. But my read on stoicism is not that you fight every battle. My read on stoicism is that you choose very wisely the battle that you decide to fight. The opponent that you choose to spar with. And I think I'm not going to waste myself. Another Jordan Peterson quote. I mean, his book made me fucking cry when I read it because it confronted things in me that I was not prepared for. And
That's
12,
why he's
12
hated.
rules for life. And it really
Clean
messed
your
me
room,
up.
dude.
But my point here is that there's bullies on both sides right now. And I think that those two people are completely oblivious to the carnage, and they don't have the wherewithal or the understanding to look around them and see that you two assholes are fighting over something that doesn't fucking matter right now. What matters right now is this child. What matters right now is this family. What matters right now is that.
But can we also agree?
We get along.
Take like a domestic violence situation. You've got an aggressive, abusive husband and a submissive Stockholm Syndrome wife.
Mm-hmm.
This comes back to my comment that I made earlier. I mean, how right is the wife for allowing her husband to continuously beat her in front of her kids, have this hostile home environment?
Three different situations.
Just for the sake of
You brought up,
but just allowing the kid to enjoy his birthday, man.
You brought up three different situations. The first situation you brought up is, are you the husband or are you the wife? The second situation that you brought up is, are you watching the husband or are you watching the wife? The third situation is, are you aware that it's happening?
Yeah.
So let me walk through those piece by piece. If I am the husband or if I am the wife, and I am either the aggressor or the Stockholm Syndrome person, I just want to walk through this. If I'm the aggressor or I am the Stockholm Syndrome, and the person with Stockholm Syndrome, then there needs to be a change. Something needs to happen to ignite a response.
Yeah.
If
you can't continue to be a wife that allows yourself to keep being beaten, and obviously that's an unhealthy situation the other way.
For the children,
reverse.
it's unhealthy for yourself. It's unhealthy for the person that is the aggressor. Nobody's learning. Everybody's getting hurt. Okay,
Right,
so you have
don't
to stand
wanna-
up for yourself. You know that.
Yeah.
I know that. Standing up for myself is no problem. If I'm confronted by anything, I will stand. I would rather die than to get robbed again. So when I was robbed at gunpoint, it was just never going to happen again. I'm taking the gun. So that's never going to happen. Now, the second scenario is, did you see it? The number of times I've been in a parking lot and I'm watching a girl, like this just happened recently at Giant Eagle. I was watching a girl run yelling out of Giant Eagle and a man in street clothes running after her, yelling at her. And I'm going, oh, fuck. I saw it. Here we go. And I'm getting ready, man. I'm like, okay, where's my plan of attack? Can I just body this dude right now? Can I just body him in the street right now? I think I can fucking take him. He's heavier than me, but I think if I get a good enough running start, he doesn't see me. I think I can hit him, right? I went into go mode because I'm going to solve this situation. I'm not going to let that happen. My virtue as a man and my understanding, my honor does not allow a woman to get hurt while I watch it happen. I don't care who's in the right. I will prohibit that from happening if I can. I have to step in. I have to intervene. Okay? It turned out she was a shoplifter, and he was a street clothes loss prevention guy. Okay? So I didn't have to get involved. But in that situation, I have to get involved because I saw it. So that's your second scenario, is if you witness the domestic violence case, then you probably have to get involved. All right? If you witness the children getting eaten, then you have to get involved. But if you just know that it's happening, I don't care.
But let's get back to your scenario, right? Like, you got a kid's birthday, and I'm just trying to, while it's a little bit more hyperbolic, it's akin to the same vein. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is you're the wife in the scenario who continues to get beaten. And it's one of those, like, do I allow the kid to continue to have a beautiful birthday today, but continue to be beaten? And acknowledge and pretend that things are not a problem for the sake of this kid enjoying the day.
I have the ripcord.
Yeah, let's also acknowledge. I think that I think also dismantles the hurdle of this analogy. Today's a kid's birthday, but what about tomorrow? Like, your dad and your uncle can, right for the moment, be adults. At the same time, though, like, there's always tomorrow and it's nobody's birthday. And I'm not going to continue to pretend, or I'm not going to continue to throw my head in the sand as ignorance dances around me.
Sure. And I there is something to be said about that. And I respect that point. But for me, it's a decision. And that decision, most of the time we're together, it's about the family being together. And so the ripcord is to get that uncle to leave. And all I have to do is open my mouth, because I haven't. Up until this point, the only reason I haven't had any hate from either side of the family is because I absolutely refuse to let those conversations happen. And so anytime that I'm in anybody's house, nobody looks at me with crossed eyes. Nobody goes, this fucking MAGA Republican. Nobody says that about me. They just treat me like I'm Dallas. They just treat me like I'm a family member. And they don't bring it up. When I'm alone in their houses with them, nobody brings it up around me, because I don't think they want to ruin the relationship that they have with the last person that refused to fight with them either.
Fair.
And so I think that, and so when it comes to...
But that's different than the uncle, right? Like, again,
I was in that uncle's house
but wait,
4 days ago.
But we got to keep the analogy even across the board. Like, those people that you just spoke about are outside of the person we're talking about. They accept you for your differences. They acknowledge that Dallas is different in X. And I don't need to pick at this scab.
No.
I acknowledge he's different, and we're going to the zoo, and we're going to just look at polar bears.
No.
And it has nothing to do with this. But we're talking about the person that is picking at that scab.
I know, but that's
and if you're
going to
pretend that scab doesn't exist...
No, but that same person that's arguing with my father would argue with me.
Well, I'm sure, yeah,
if I was the catalyst. Again, we come back to the catalyst. If I was the one to go to him and I was to say, you're wrong in what you believe, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I can't believe that you believe what you believe, and I respect you less for it. If that was my approach, every time I saw this man, he would look at me cross-eyed. But because I haven't been the catalyst, kind of like the girl that didn't ask me about the black square, even though she was posting all of the stuff, she didn't ask me about it. Because I wasn't the catalyst in that relationship, I think that he respects me and respects the relationship enough not to ask. And so we just don't talk about it. But the result of that
is fair.
Is every time I go over there, he treats me like a human being and like a nephew.
But let's agree, the divide in this dialogue is don't ask, don't tell, versus when asked,
Exactly.
have
Exactly.
to wear your heart on your sleeve.
But I haven't been asked.
Yeah, no, that's how life goes.
Yeah.
Trust me, we got him. Dude, I remember I have an uncle who's a judge, and he was a Republican until he had to become a Democrat judge, and now he is diehard Democrat for the rest of his life. That is who he is. And you talk to him, and what's interesting is, like, I'll never forget, before Biden was even running, you're like, what do you have to say about him smelling this little girl's hair? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like, well, don't ask, don't tell. It doesn't exist to me. I don't hate him for it. At the same time, sometimes we get a little, he gets it in on us, we get it on him, but it's like kind of one of those, we stay away from it. Today we're talking about how much the Lions suck and life. But at the point at which something is truly confronted, the dialogue evolves into puberty inhibitors for children. You owe it to a child whose sack is getting mutilated that, like, you gotta say something. That's just life. Or you're not in the garden, dude, which is cool.
If I'm confronted.
Which is cool.
If I'm confronted.
Right.
And I think that's the difference between
I agree.
The role
because
that
the pivotal
the role
piece
that
of
I've chosen.
No, not your. I think you do raise a very the most pivotal point. We are social beings,
and that's what.
And
it
we
all
need
comes
to be
back
with each other.
I feel sick right now, and I have for the last 2.5, 3 years. I've felt sick because of the distance between my family members, and because of, like, they just don't show up anymore. And then also, like, during the lockdown, I was the guy during the first, remember when DeWine locked everything with a curfew? I threw a party called the End of the World Party. And I was
Dude,
like,
we
if
still
you
don't have
motherfuckers
stores.
don't get in your cars and drive to this fucking address, I swear to God, I'll come to you. Like, I was adamant about it. We threw an End of the World Party at my buddy's place. And,
That's awesome.
And because I feel sick when I can't see people. I need to be around people. It makes me sick not to be around people. And I think my immune response to all of this crazy shit that's been happening and all of these opinions and all of this hardcore division that's been happening, my response to that is, how can I facilitate at least a couple hours where nobody's fighting? How can I facilitate at least a couple hours where you see another person next to you as a human being, regardless, you haven't even asked them about their political beliefs? Like, how do I facilitate that? Because outside of that, we're fucked, man. I really believe that.
Dude, you're so
And
right.
it's just a couple hours.
Right.
And your position, which
But
I
don't forget,
respect,
they're making the decision.
I know, but they made the decision to come to the gig. And so did the person from the other party.
Wait,
so
we're not talking about the gig. We're talking about
I know.
turkey
And so what
dinner.
I'm saying is my role in life that I believe I'm
to
cut
be
out for
is to be the people, the bringer of people.
is to show people that you can have a good time. Like, it's okay to be happy. I know shit's fucked right now, but I'm playing guitar in the trench. Like, I know there's a war on, but it doesn't mean we can't laugh. Like, it doesn't mean we can't share each other's food and drink coffee together. Like, it's okay. I mean, yeah, it's the world is on fire right now for us, and we're getting mortared. But at the same time, I'm going to be telling jokes because I want us to be able to be human while the war is raging. And so, and your role, as I see it, which is the role of other people that I really respect, and Jordan Peterson being one of them. I think that there's some others who have kind of sold out a little bit, but there's other people on the right wing that I really respect for the fight that they're fighting, and which is to stand up for what matters and to stand up for your beliefs no matter what the fallout is. It's like, you know what? this is true, and I'm calling that out. We need that. Otherwise, there's no voice at all. But my point is, I don't think everybody is necessarily built to be that voice.
Very fair point.
I think that we still need that other side, which is the comedy shows and the live performances, and just to show people that you're still a human being. You can still laugh and dance, and right next to somebody who may have differing beliefs.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. Last couple anecdotes are the most hated. Plato said the most hated person in society is the person that speaks the most truth. At the same time, what makes comedy is it's a satire of reality. And so there's more political commentary and truth in comedy than anything else. And so sometimes the scab that it picks at is one that we need to truly confront and acknowledge. At the same time, I totally agree. We're social beings, and we need to come together more, and that takes precedent over who's right.
Right.
Like again, this has been something that just keeps being brushed upon, but rightness is nothing more than an anecdotal perspective. It ain't truth. There's nothing. It's made up.
Right.
So when I come to you and I go, I'm right, you're wrong, that ain't a thing.
Right.
But somebody's saying somebody's wrong. And it ain't me. It is somebody else.
Right.
And a line in the sand has been drawn. There's something cool you bring about. And I think, obviously, maybe we do need to acknowledge this example more directly. But what's something you're trying to truly emotionally convey to me? I have an uncle that if I placated into the games he plays, there could be damage. However, ignoring or playing into and kind of moving with his momentum has built a relationship to where I go to his house and there's nothing different. We're one and the same. Love is love.
Right.
And I'm not trying to disrupt that. So let's acknowledge in that relationship something I have kind of acknowledged I share with a different uncle. I'm not saying you need to sit there and poke at him.
Yeah.
You need to highlight where his side is wrong. I think the only thing that I say is, because in life I've experienced the opposite more than anything, which is the person who you say grass is orange, I say grass is green. When you go grass is orange, for the sake of us being companions, I also say grass is orange. I have now made a wake in the karma and have created a bigger detriment in truth and reality. Listen, you hate a Matt Walsh because he's uncomfortable. But the reality is, the only thing he says is the only thing I stand for is truth. I don't hate anybody. Mm-hmm. So the fact is, I don't care what the color of the grass really is in regards to what we say. I just care about truth. Liberate me from my ignorance. But if I sit here and acknowledge it's green, but am afraid, I don't care what you say. It's a fear of losing you. It's a fear of the conflict. It's a fear of the wreckage that may come. But it is a fear. And it's a fear of whatever you think it's orange. The fear of whatever you result from me saying it's green. Like, I get your point. Hey, I respect the virtuous people out here. We need you guys, but I'm not going to be a person that goes, I'm going to confront the green. It's green. I'm not telling you to overtly assert yourself, but the bedrock of my point is, if and when you're having the guy makes an old fashioned, no gay beer. Just pours an old-fashioned. And we're sitting around, and he goes, the grass is orange. You owe it to your kids. You owe it to the ethos. You owe it to karma to go, it's green. Because guess what, Dallas? Me and you say it's green because for crayons, we've been coloring it that way since we were kids. But it could be orange, dude. You could be fucking wrong, dude. And you owe it to rightness and you owe it to yourself to confront that idea, because the only way you learn that, in fact, it is orange is you actually overtly confronted the idea. So you should yourself want to be the best Dallas you could make. I need to be the best me I can. And there's best Dallas who thinks the grass is orange, and then there's best Dallas +1 that knows it's freaking green.
I know. So just because I think it's funny, I don't want to argue about the fucking color of the grass when there's a kid opening their presents.
I know, but we're talking about the next day. I've disarmed that.
Okay. And I don't want to talk about the color of the grass when I'm at a gig.
Yeah, again,
Okay.
I'm talking about you're in your
Being
uncle's
directly
living, and you just want to, I love you.
Yeah.
You're my uncle,
Yeah.
dude. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
You're saying, and you're saying situationally.
You get what I'm saying.
I get directly confronted.
I have a coworker that won't shut the hell up about crumble cookies every day. But I put on a smile. Yeah, it gets what you like, so I like it. Sure.
Yeah, but
I
you're...
hate it, man. But I pretend because I want to just share a thing with you and put on a smile. This isn't the crumble cookie coworker,
Okay.
and this is your uncle. I'm in your kitchen.
Yes.
We're sharing an old fashioned,
Yes.
and we're talking
Okay.
about life.
So given that situation, I do agree with you. Like I said
Like,
before.
I'm not looking at the blue-haired dude, I pray, because I'm in a different medium than you. I don't think there's a blue-haired person that's willing to listen to me and give me the benefit of the doubt. But I don't want to exile that person.
Yeah.
There is I made a
You're
joke
not
about a
actively
person
saying,
that wants
"Get off
to
my stream."
exactly.
Yeah.
There's nobody that the person that wants to have a cat kitty litter box in the bathroom. I don't want to turn them away from my show.
Right.
But if I pretend it isn't ridiculous, I've done wrong to existence.
Okay, but you're making a binary out of something that I don't think quite is, and
I agree.
I hope you can understand.
That I agree.
I hope you can understand this. That I'm seeing more options.
There's a
than that.
sliding scale.
Yeah. So when he
between the
old fashioned on the counter in the kitchen, where he says the grass is orange, I'm more interested in what happens when I disarm it. And I'm not saying you're saying that either you agree that the grass is orange, or you don't agree that the grass is orange and you fight that and you fight that.
But dude, what if you think the grass is green and it in fact is orange? Do you not realize you owe it to yourself? The only way you learn that it is in fact orange is by fighting it with someone else. Right. And then your idea is challenged and proved wrong.
Okay.
And then shit, it's actually orange.
Okay. So say I'm a master in Aikido. There's a guy on the street, and he walks up to me, and he goes, I saw you looking at my girl. And I was like, dude, I wasn't even that club. He goes, I saw you looking at my girl. I'm going to shoot your ass. And I go, hey, man, listen. I think we just need to walk away. Like, I think you're fucked up right now. It wasn't me. I wasn't even in the club. But I think we just need to walk away. Can I shake your hand? Listen, can we just work this out? Can we just work this out right now? And he goes, I'm going to shoot your ass. And I'm like, listen, I don't see a gun, okay? Come back with a gun. Until the point that he pulls the gun out of his waistband, I can diffuse that situation. But the second he pulls his gun out, I'm an Aikido master. I'm going to take the fucking gun from him, or I'm going to try. But my point is, until that moment, you always have the opportunity to diffuse. And I think that when we're talking about most topics related to politics, most things can be diffused, and you have to make that decision.
But politics is life.
Okay,
anymore.
but you have to make that decision based on the person that you're communicating with.
Fair.
If you are making that decision with every single person in your life, you're going to alienate the world. But if you decide to make that decision with people that you think you can have a conversation with and learn from and the reason I'm having this conversation with you is because I think that you have perspectives and intelligence that I can learn from. That's why I'm sitting with you today. I'm sitting with you today because I think you are an intelligent enough person that I can come to you with my theories and you can challenge them, and then I can maybe develop myself as a person. I'm using you as an iron.
That's what I want from my uncle.
Right.
That's what I want from the person. Dude, I'm telling you, the yin to the yang. The only way I grow, like, it's kind of like being the biggest fish in the pond. Like, I need a bigger fish in the pond to get bigger, or the pond needs to get bigger. And the only way that happens is, like, you gotta challenge yourself.
Okay.
So, but I agree with everything else. Dude, not everything else. Everything you've said, I need you to know I agree with.
I
concur
fully believe
totally.
That. But my point is you have to choose who you decide to hone yourself against. Because if you're honing yourself against dirt, it's not going to help you. If you're honing yourself against iron, you're going to find yourself a sharper blade. So if you're fighting dirt all the time, you're going to have a dull sword. How much dirt is out there compared to iron? How many people are awake? On either side. There are people that are awake on the side that you disagree with, and those people will help you hone your perspective, even if it hones it in the direction further towards what you have.
Dude, you that's a brilliantly unfair analogy. I got to hand it to you because, shit, I mean, just hacking at dirt ain't going to sharpen your blade. This is the only contrary I have to that is this. One, we all know Jesus, the person he spoke to, the people he spoke to the most was the whores, the gamblers, the people that were the degenerates of society. At the same time, I am Greek. I do not think I'm a descendant of Socrates, but philosophy is so in my soul. I like to believe I'm like a goat herder that, like, Socrates questioned. That's who I think I'm a descendant of. That's somebody that was, like, struck by the questions of Socrates, because it's so in my nature.
Go back to Jesus.
I say that. No. I want to say.
Go ahead.
The only reason is this. I don't like your analogy. I love your analogy. Because, shit, it's a good fucking analogy. It's hard to beat. At the same time, though, I think it makes an unfair burden. That being, hacking at dirt doesn't sharpen your blade. Obviously, in a real world, taking a samurai sword and hacking at dirt is not going to sharpen it. You need that iron or some sort of sharpening blade or sharpening tool. At the same time, though, Socrates, someone I truly do believe is like one of the coolest and most brilliant inquisitors of human existence, man.
Hell of a brain on that, man.
We are fucking talking about him
Thousands
in a totally different world, in an electric world. Look at these lights, man. He had candles, and we're talking about him. That's sweet. I say that because what made Socrates so sharp and brilliant was talking to the Freemason, the goat herder, the regular man.
Sure.
And so I am dude, I talk to you. I believe one day, I truly do believe, this is going to be, and I can't wait for somebody to clip this. This will be like my diamond in the rough, right? Like, this is that. You are that. Like, I'm talking to Tom Cruise before he's the Tom Cruise. It's fucking awesome, dude. And I say that because in this world, I don't need to talk to the sharpest blade to continue to get sharper. No. And Joe Rogan he is the biggest podcast in the world. And what was talked about in this podcast, he isn't what I was sold upon 10 years ago when I fell in love. He's evolved into something totally different. I still love him, but I love him differently. It's a different thing. That guy I fell in love with at the beginning of time, he didn't need to talk to Elon Musk. He didn't need to talk. There were people you didn't know who the hell they were, but you loved him. That's what my show is.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't know Dallas. This is Tom Cruise. I'm telling you. But at the same time, in the time period of 2023, I'm talking to nobodies. So what makes Joe Rogan's show Joe Rogan's show? His guest.
His choice.
His guest.
His choice.
Dude, he's piggybacking off of the biggest names in the world. But to me, my world, I'm talking to people. And they don't need to be certified by society a big name to make this worth listening to,
Right.
to make this fruitful.
I totally
And
agree.
Socrates would say talking to the goat man is equally as valuable as talking to Julius, Caesar himself.
Okay. But you speak truth to power.
And you can speak that truth to power with
To
the
internet.
empowered.
Through the internet.
No,
now.
But I can team up with the empowered
Yes.
to talk to power.
But
I don't
again,
need power to talk to power.
Yes, and I don't disagree with that. But I think what made, first of all, I have a couple points to make. I think what made Joe Rogan was his choice in guests. He always chose
that
who he
was
wanted
the
to speak to.
evolution. Dude, when he started, he was just talking to
Yeah,
his
but
friends.
he still brought his friends in. It wasn't that anybody who wanted to come on came on. It was that, like, he's like, yeah, that's the point that I'm making, is like, it's your choice to bring in people that you think will be interesting to have a conversation with. And the way you're judging that is probably on intellect. I hate to admit that, but I hate to just call it out like that, but it is probably based, because that makes a more interesting conversation. If you just sit across from somebody who's like, no, then it's not going to be a very interesting conversation. And then the second point that I want to make was to the allegory you used from Scripture, where you talked about Jesus, and you said when you related to that he would talk to anybody. Okay, but think about. He didn't kick Mary Magdalene's table over. Remember Mary Magdalene?
Sure.
He didn't kick her table over. He let her wash his feet, and he had a discussion.
Right.
He kicked the Pharisees, the false priests. He kicked their tables over. He chose when to use that power. If we're talking about him as an individual, if we're talking about him as a person, then we have to discuss when he chose to use anger. We have to discuss when he chose to teach. We have to discuss when he chose to have a conversation. That is all leaning into this. It's not that he was screaming at everybody that disagreed with him. If he had done that, he would have never created a following.
Totally agree. However, the point to be made was there's no hierarchy to the people you talk to. Now, knowing how to approach those situations appropriately,
Right.
That's its own exercise muscle. You need to be good at that. That's its own virtue. However, at the same time, what I want to acknowledge is you can approach those people differently. They should be appropriately approached based on who they are, how they approached you, the topic at hand, preserving the situation, saving the kid's birthday. At the same time, though, if and when the bedrock of my morality, my moral compass, is confronted, any birthday or the day after the birthday, none of that holds a candle to allowing. It's kind of like Kavanaugh, evil guy, drank beers at 16 and did things with a girl. Now,
Don't know anything about him.
What's worse? The guy that did the wrong thing or the person that watched it happen? Right? So
The guy.
we can agree.
Yeah.
Can we also agree, however, it's kind of like, to me personally, if you allow it to happen, you might as well have done it yourself.
Yes, there is a measure of guilt on those who are bystanders. I totally agree.
So, in my mind, there's a very fine line in social preservation and standing up for what's right.
Right.
So, I agree. But I think, again, we keep dancing around the same
It's
bush.
two approaches to the solution of the same problem.
It's the same solution to the same problem.
My
Me
solution
and you both agree.
Is to separate people from their ideology for 2 hours.
Right. Because,
Your solution.
No. You know what's even more beautiful, truthfully, is I think we live in a world where the media and everything convinces us we're on other sides. Right. We wear different jerseys. We're different. Yeah. But if you allow yourself to put down your guard, and this is why I hold the position I do so passionately, if you talk to people that are different than you, more often than not, you're going to realize we pretty much agree on everything except for the slight nuances. Right. So, one, we need to recognize that there's an entity severely incentivized in making sure that we don't know or recognize that we benefit from each other. I do agree with that. And we need to come together.
Because there are interests, that, especially financial interests, that are making a lot of money on the division. So I do agree with you on that.
Totally. And so, again, they want to divide us. And once you recognize that we pretty much agree on everything, we turn our barrels to the right actor.
Exactly. It's not the person.
And that's the thing they don't
want. It's not the person that's wearing sunglasses that changed the color of the fucking grass. It's not their fault that they are thinking this way. Cheers. And they will come around.
I love that analogy.
They'll fucking come around. Like, I've seen it. I've seen it so many times where I've had friends that go off the deep end, and I choose to to just step away for a second and not engage, and let them work through that, and they come around. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen every time, and I'm not saying that there isn't a space for calling truth to power. You are doing that, and I respect the fuck out of you for that, dude. I respect the hell out of you for starting a show this way. Like, it's hard, bro. That's so hard, and you keep doing it. You, like, week after week, you keep going, and I respect the hell out of you for that, just like I respect all these other people for being who they are. Like, because this is who you are. All I'm saying is, another way, the way that I've chosen to take this is that I want to approach it from a direction that makes people challenge. It makes people walk away from a social event going, wow, I just had fun. And not, like, they don't even know why. I don't even care if they know why. I don't even care if they know that the person next to them had opposite beliefs. I don't care. The only thing I care about is that they went, oh my God, that was kind of fun. I should go out again. Because the more you go out and the more you see other people and the more, it's the answer. It's the antidote. Socialization is the antidote.
Dude, I couldn't agree more.
I really think it is.
I just want to end on one last thing. I was going to refrain from it, but couldn't fit better.
Go.
There was a girl I went to law school with. She was black, and one of the things we'd had conversation with is she was like, we need to suppress racism. We need to just hide the ignorance. And I felt the opposite. Mm-hmm. I looked at her and I go, Ashley, let's be real. When it comes to racism, if you have a dad that looks at a son and goes, Asian people are the worst. They're the most evil people. If you suppress that and hide it, that kid always hears Asian people are the worst. Mm. The world you want to live in is a world where ignorance is defeated by experience. That child lives in a home where the dad goes, Asian people are evil, Asian people are evil, Asian people are evil. But guess how you beat ignorance? Experience. So that kid goes out and he goes to school, he goes to business, he goes to profession, he goes to
Makes
XYZ.
some Asian friends. Yeah. Goes to a couple of parties.
And exactly. Yeah. My best friend at school or this guy at school, he's very nice to me. This person at the profession, this person at the business, very nice. So dad goes, Asian people are evil, but also I'm living the life of in balance with this person opened the door for me. This person found my wallet on the ground and returned it to me. This person was the greatest professor I ever had. All of these different anecdotes play into your perspective. So if I never get those experiences and I only have dad creating my reality, that is my truth. But dad's ignorance can exist in another realm balanced with reality. Mm. And it's naturally defeated because experience allows you to have an accurate, calibrated compass. So the answer isn't silence. The answer is to amplify.
We fear that which we do not understand.
Allow the ignorance, free marketplace of ideas.
Yeah.
Let all these stupid ideas to flourish. You don't want your idea challenged by mine because I beat you.
Cream always flows to the top.
Boom. So that's what we're struggling with is there are people who hold on to ignorance because they associate their identity with their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you defeat their ideas, you defeat their identity. And therefore, they have everything invested in preserving that. So that's what we're up against.
But let me make one comment.
I want it.
There are autistic people that do not understand comedy.
You're right.
Truth, weaponized. Truth, or not weaponized. Truth, taken too radically, removes all context.
Yeah.
And I think that context matters. And the person you're talking to matters. And the situation you're in matters. And all of that matters. And I think that there's a healthy balance to all of this where you can understand the truth and you can know the truth, but you can choose when to utilize it and who to utilize it against.
I love that idea. I think it is mildly irrational to believe that even a fraction of people hold that ability.
They don't need to.
Well, but we're talking about masses. We're talking about policy. We're talking about the population. So when you're talking about, I don't know, the kitchen with your uncle, if 60% of that room is this type of human, then no, that foundationally you have confronted a hurdle that prevents that bridge.
But the longer he sees me as a nephew,
well, sure.
the longer he sees me as a nephew and not I don't
want to
caricature of the right.
But see, that's the problem. That's what you're making my position
yeah. I'm not,
no,
yeah.
not you.
I know what you're going to say.
The debate of me,
Yeah.
the debater of me is the unfair burden put on my position is that I'm trying to make it out to be that you need to be an adversary to your uncle. And that's not my decision.
Yeah.
And I'm also not saying that you need to preach upon him, that you need to outspeak your opinions on him. At the same time,
I don't believe that's what you're saying.
If you've got a collection of the room, so let's say you are at your uncle's house, we've all had an old-fashioned, we're all sitting around there, your uncle has a wife, he has a couple cousins, and so now I've got a room full of people, I'm the odd man out. Yes, listen, I'm not a savant of many things, but I can be a social savant.
Yeah.
And I know when not to be autistically zebra ostracized.
Yeah, I know.
At the same time, though, you need to just know, like, I guess there's no podcast that's going to articulate what that line is.
No.
With the line of knowing, being a good, like when being outspoken is right and when tucking your tail and being a social member of society is appropriate. At the same time, though, I don't know how to put it on in words, but your soul knows when I should speak up, but I'm not because it's easier right now.
But again, you're bringing that, and I hope, I think we agree on this. I just want to make it known that is not binary, and personally, I know exactly where that line is for myself.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
Totally.
I'm sure you do too. I know exactly where that line is, and when push actually comes to shove, then that's when I know that I need to engage.
But also, wait. This is the unfair thing I think you're putting on your uncle's position too. I think the unfair thing about this theory talk we're doing right now is we have to assume in the theory that your uncle being told the grass is green, him thinking it's orange, automatically dissolves a relationship. You're putting an unfair position on him too. Like, the whole theory has to assume that me speaking out against what's wrong dissolves everything. I think you're assuming and ignoring the most important virtue I'm trying to highlight here, which is what I'm not saying you need to burn having an uncle, period. But you should definitely be comfortable within yourself and also family to call upon a familial relationship to have a dialogue, to confront their ideas. Like, if me just being me to you makes me out to be the big bad wolf and we got to blow the whole house down. Like, again, I get we're walking circles here and we're back to,
Not really.
then it's on you. But what I really want to get at is this whole dialogue assumes that your uncle's an unfair, sick person. Like, who is your uncle to not at least go, you know what? I want to preserve my relationship with Dallas. Like, fuck, how much of the heavy lifting are you going to do in this dialogue here?
But I think he's already making that decision.
Well,
and
then
that's my
fuck
point.
him, dude.
No. I think he's already making the decision.
If he goes, I don't want Dallas in my
No, he's
convo.
making the decision to preserve the relationship.
Exactly,
That's
dude.
what I'm saying. But
So
hang
that's what I'm
on.
saying. You're putting that
But hang
unfair
on.
assumption in.
It's only because I haven't catalyzed that explosion yet. So he may be talking to my father about this. It's between them, and my brother might get involved, or whatever. It might happen that they're like la, 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 at each other, right? But because I interject in the middle and I don't take a side and I go, TV off, let's just enjoy then this is what I'm saying. The example that I'm setting is not, this is what I'm trying to, and I'm not trying to make myself out to be some deity, but the example that I'm trying to set for my family is that there is a middle ground.
Yes.
That there is a non-engagement. There is the December 25th, 1939, or it'd be 1942, 1941, 1942, when two warring armies shared the same cabin. There is that moment where there are two ideologies that disagree, and we're the soldiers on the field, but we can come together on Christmas, and we can decide that no matter what, we're just going to get along tonight, and we're going to leave it all outside on the step, and we can talk about it tomorrow. We can talk about it on the porch, but we're not going to talk about it here. And I think that's the biggest point that I'm trying to make. He is respecting our relationship by not bringing that up. Because he hasn't.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
you're
saying. His
when
whole
you're
theory
approached
has
directly,
given him an unfair assumption.
But what I'm saying is it has not given him an unfair assumption because I am currently playing that game.
So is he. And the whole dialogue has been, you're willing to play the game,
I'm
and
not going to bring it up. No, I'm saying I'm not going to bring it up,
but
and he's
that
not going to
has
bring it
been
up.
the basis of the theory. So now when you're both willing to play the game, it's a different thing, and I think there's no conversation to be had.
If he comes at me,
Everybody's
you're right.
willing to ignore the elephant in the room, move on,
Right.
and be humans.
He won't
But
say Dallas.
But I just want to
Yeah.
acknowledge the crux of our conversation has been you are willing to turn a blind cheek, and Uncle wants to talk
phrase.
about the grass being orange, and you want to have to ignore that. And the conversation has changed to a more realistic point, which is let's just both agree to ignore talking about what the color of the grass is, and let's just talk about the fact that we're at the zoo.
Call me after.
Yeah. Or let's just not talk about it.
Or let's go have coffee. I don't
it's
care if
different.
you want to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it here. And I think that's like that situational awareness that I am trying to explain myself is I'm trying to make that clear here is that the situational awareness says not here, but he won't bring it up anywhere else. He only brings it up
Fair
there.
point too.
So then my situational awareness says diffuse the situation. And I think that more often than not, diffusing the situation in the real world, when you're smoking a cigarette with somebody outside a bar, diffusing the situation and trying to get to know them as a person is always going to be a better call than trying to find something that you disagree on.
Oh, totally agree.
Whereas, I think I'm not making any assumptions about what you're saying.
No, I know.
Everything you're saying has been accurate as far as I can tell. and I'm pretty sure we're saying a lot of the same things, but I'm just trying to make painfully evident that socialization is more important than political ideology.
I totally agree. And what I also want to acknowledge is, I think something that that I overlook more often than not is a privilege I have is I know there's no uncle, friend, cousin, side cellular person that's going to out-debate me. So I have a hubris to me that it's like, challenge me. Like, this is like,
I'm with you there.
You're not somebody that's going to get out-rocked or out-painted.
Yeah.
There's not many wheelhouses I
confidence that comes
have,
with that.
but this is me.
There's a
and it's like,
confidence, yeah.
I will debate you on anything. So, one, if I lose the debate, I've now bettered myself, and I now know the right way. But also, I have this ignorant perspective of confidence that, like, I'm going to beat you, so let's wrestle. Let's cognitively wrestle. Let's rethink this shit.
Strongest gladiator in the arena doesn't mean you're in the stands murdering women. Right?
I can agree with that. All right, man. That was dense. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah.
We got to end on a happy, fun note.
Go. What do you got?
Our bears are real, a Chinese zoo says, denying they are humans in disguise. There has been an internet craze making the claim that the pandas in Chinese zoos are people in costumes. Now, are there some pictures that walk a fine gray line? Oh, man. Maybe. But also, what a headline.
What the fuck, dude? Is there any truth to it?
All I'm saying is,
well,
who cares?
China,
Wait,
so nobody fucking knows. But
yeah. But let's also agree, true or not,
hilarious headline.
if you have to make the claim,
I swear to God,
Bears are people too.
that animal laying down is not a person in a costume.
like, I never went to Disney and was like, oh my God, is that Goofy or a real dog?
Okay.
Like,
How about the difference between the two countries? So we have in the U.S., it's like birds aren't real. And then in China, it's like bears are real. Our bears are real. Our bears are real bears. We're like, dude, these pigeons.
our pigeons are CIA drones.
You ever seen a pigeon nest?
I swear to God, our
You ever seen a
bears
pigeon
are
nest?
not people in costumes.
How do you prove that they're not? That's another great question here. Is like, how do you prove that they're not people in costumes?
It's got a willy.
Would you just shoot one? Like,
All right, we're going to make panda bear soup one time.
one time.
One time.
One time. I think you'd have to kill one. I think that's the only way to really, at random, have the internet select the panda.
Pick the panda. You wanted it. You wanted this.
You wanted
You
this.
wanted this.
I swear to God, our pandas aren't people in costumes.
Oh my God, dude.
Dallas.
Just people eating fucking bamboo. Just regular ass people. Just chowing down bamboo. That's a rough job, dude.
It used to be Cuban sugar cane, but now it's just a stick.
It's not good. God damn.
Okay, Dallas, thank you so much for giving me your time.
Dude, thank you.
I hope to one
Good
day do this
conversation.
again soon because this is way too fun.
It was light on the laughs, but it was a good conversation.
Yeah, we'll make it funnier next time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your hard
Dude,
work
thank you.
because this is the coolest thing in this whole room.
You paid
in
for
my
a lot of
whole life.
burritos with that, so that's all I eat. Eggs
God
and
bless.
eggs and wraps and sausage. That's all I eat.
God bless. Guys, thank you for listening. If you made it this long, man, God bless you too. But if we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you can do to support this show is share this episode. Again, we're fighting algorithms. People don't like us. People don't like us talking about these type of topics either. So on top of that, the best thing you can do to support us and to circumvent those hurdles is to share that episode. If you liked it, somebody you know probably does too, so take that link and spread it around. That's what helps the algorithm. Otherwise, guys, you can find all of our content on our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. Go ahead and check us out at at Rethink Tank. And you can find me at Gergat57. Otherwise, Dallas, where can they find you?
Dude, I don't know. Check the woods somewhere. I'm about to peace out this bitch.
Do not miss Quick Mystery.
Yeah, we're on Quick Mystery on Instagram, Quick Mystery on Instagram, Quick Mystery on YouTube, Quick Mystery in concert, Quick Mystery everywhere.
On Spotify.
I think we're the first thing to come up now, finally, on YouTube. If you search Quick Mystery, it's not Rick and Morty anymore. We superseded Rick and Morty. It's like, God damn it. Anyway,
these algorithms.
That's where we're at.
Awesome.
Quick Mystery. Go find us.
Don't miss them. Heighten your playlist and check out Quick Mystery. But otherwise, guys, we'll check you on the next episode. Peace. All right, so you want to paint this thing or what?